All right, guys, we're live. Welcome to this Thursday night edition of the Live Well here at Fish North Georgia. We are so glad you guys can take some time and join us tonight. Again, if you're watching at a later date, we love you just as much. And I got a great show in store for you guys tonight. Got Matt O'Connell. If you guys follow fishing around here, he's a name you know. And so we're going to talk about his escapades on the tournament trail and talk a little bit about versatility and how to be able to fish for bass in different styles, locations, lakes, and stuff like that. So, going to be a great show. I got Father Time right here beside me as well. Glad to see you still here. Of course, Blake's back there running the board tonight, there in all his glory right there. So, let's go ahead and take care of some business. And as always, we start the show off with our guys from Sonar Pros right there. Trent and the guys. Trent was on last Tuesday, and if you want your electronics installed by the best, take it where the pros take it. Sonar Pros, 770-530-4505 by appointment only. He's got a new place located off Highway 369. And again, guys, you can go find it cheaper elsewhere, but eventually you're going to take it to Trent and he's going to end up fixing it. So you might as well get it done right the first time. So that's Sonar Pros, the official live well installer of Fish North Georgia. Next up, Kevin Underwood, Lip Sticker Fishing. We see it every single day. Kevin's always putting his clients on those big megalodon spotted bass on Lake Lanier. Always a good time. He can work with you on your sonar. Anything you want, Kevin can put it to it. Lip Sticker Fishing. Check him out on his Facebook page or at www.lipstickerfishing.com. Then we've got Evolve Rod Sleeve. Absolutely the best in the market. Don't care what anybody else says. Evolve is the best rod sleeve out there. We got them here at Fish North Georgia, or you can check them out at evolvefishing.com. Hey, listen, they float. They got the tie downs. They got the protective tip. And best of all, your hooks do not get hooked into them. So check the guys out at Evolve Fishing. And our buddies over at Festive Water Paddle Sports off Highway 369, www.festivewater.com. No matter what you want to do when it comes to kayaks, paddle sports, they can set you up, and they're expanding right now. So they're actually going to they took the unit over beside them, and they're going to have a dedicated fishing section, a fishing side right there. So check out Nathan and the guys over there. Tell them the guys at Fish North Georgia sent you. And, of course, the Money Saver Lure Retriever. Guys, we spend a lot of money. How much money you reckon you spend a year on fishing, Kevin?
Gosh, I don't know. Probably $4,000 to $5,000.
$4,000 to $5,000. Well, you need the best lure retriever on the market right there. So the Money Saver Lure Retriever, for the price you pay, you want to get it back each and every time. And of course, our buddies over here at Turner Tire, can we hit that wide shot there, Blake? You don't right there, right behind us, 706-253-3339 in Jasper, Georgia. Great family-owned business. If you want anything to do with alignment tires, Brock, they absolutely will set you up. What's going on, everybody? And of course, we never go without Etowah Mead Beer and Wine in Dahlonega, Georgia. The 1833 is what's on tap for tonight.
The best.
Guys,
The best.
The best. Absolutely. If you're in the mead game, all that, they've got beer, they've got mead. They got a great place up in Dahlonega. You definitely need to go check them out up there. They do trivia on Thursday nights. We won't hold it against them that they're not watching us, but a great place. And again, mead can be shipped because it's classified as a wine. I don't know why you can't ship beer, but you can ship wine. So go to their website and check that out and get some to your house, or just come hang out with us. I've got some here at the shop. I'll give you a sip. And so real quick, I want to say hello to everybody before we get up. Luke Turner, Jason Jones, listen to Tuesday's show this morning. Great show. Appreciate that, buddy. Ron Allison, Clint Bartlett's editing reels for Champlain. A lot of fish caught up there today and all that. So Tony, the how-to hero, all you guys, Bass Fishing 336. I want to make sure I said that right. So hit the like button, folks. That's absolutely right. So you guys do that. And again, follow Fish North Georgia on all our social media. We're everywhere. Make sure you give a follow. But also, again, I want to kind of harp on this for the next few weeks. The next season of the Real American Road Trip is fixing to drop. If you want to see some funny stuff, some good fish catches, some great destinations, and, of course, my smiling face, go check it out on Waypoint TV Monday nights at 9 o'clock. We got a lot of great stuff coming down the pipe very, very soon for this. So you also could check us out. We got a new YouTube page, The Real American Road Trip, that we're going to be adding a lot of content that does not make the cut for the show, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff and some stuff that we're just going to go do in relation to that. So Jason Jones, you can even put one of those sleeves in your back pocket with 100 plus of 60-pound braids to it, then attached to your pants. If you go overboard, they will find the sleeve, then maybe you. They do float. Hey, listen, they're absolutely awesome. So There you go, the Real American Road Trip. So, Steve, I hope I say it right. Gerbig, does that look like a Gerbig to you? Do you know Steve?
Yeah.
Did I say it right?
Yep.
There you go. So, all right. So let's get started with our guest. Been trying to get this fella on the show again for quite a while. He is one of the busiest anglers that I know of, and in my opinion, one of the best anglers in North Georgia. And that is Matt O'Connell. He's joining us tonight. Dude is just hammering it on his tournament trails. And so make sure I say this right, Matt. So you are the Toyota Series Central Division Angler of the Year.
Yep.
And 2-time runner-up in the BFL All American on Hartwell.
Yep. Well, Hartwell and then Cherokee.
And Cherokee. Okay,
Yep.
So like that. So Ron Allison, what's up? So absolutely, this guy right here can fish. Put it back on him. Look at that. He's also got some of the best hair game going on right now. So glad you could join us tonight. So what's been up here lately?
Been taking it easy lately. It's kind of the slow season for fishing. So
Yeah.
I really have only fished a couple times in the last, I guess, 3-4 weeks.
Right. Well, you down at ICAST with us
Yeah.
when we were down there, and
Went to ICAST with the cast guys. That was a pretty cool experience. Got to meet a whole bunch of saltwater companies, which is great when you're a bass fisherman.
that's right. Yes, that's
But
true.
no,
That's true.
It was a super cool experience. I got to meet a few different people that I'd never met before and made a few connections.
Yeah.
Just kind of got to do what you got to do out there.
You got to do that. It's all about ICAST is all about networking.
Yeah.
But it is a lot of saltwater stuff.
Yeah, I mean, Cass came out with a collaboration with Pelagic
Uh-huh.
where they did some filming together. They designed a bait with a specific color. It's a new color. It's mackerel. Looks really good.
Yeah.
But so a lot of their kind of hanging out time was all around the Pelagic booth.
I
So
understand. Yeah.
I think I probably spent more time in a bass jersey in the Pelagic booth than that company's ever had around.
Oh, I
them.
bet. Absolutely. And now I want to ask you this because, lots of love, Clint Bartlett. And there's Ryan Hanks tonight. So appreciate you guys. Big fan of that guy. Well, you should be. He reps you very well. But I want to ask you about this because we had a conversation about the products of the year with ICAST and
Mhm.
how it comes about.
Mhm.
My opinion is it's a popularity contest. The bigger companies have the advantage because they can do all the marketing, get everybody to go in and vote. I really don't think it's fair. Now, I know you're in a little bit different position than me, but can you see a little bit of where I might think that?
Oh, it's always going to be like that.
Yeah.
They're not going around and just picking whatever is actually the most game breaking thing. They're picking who they have relationships with.
100%.
It's just part of the game.
I love Berkeley, but I don't know that the Craig is the hard bait of the year. I saw some other. It's a good bait. I just don't know if it's that. Would you mind contextually breaking down the slow time right now? What exactly does that mean, the slow time?
It's gotten very hot. And
Yeah.
When it gets hot, it's not very often that you're going to have tournaments this time of year. And a lot of what I do is plan around tournaments. So if I go fun fishing, there's a few times a year where I'll put in hours. I live down in Peachtree City, or down in Sonoya, technically, where they filmed The Walking Dead. But in Peachtree City, there's several trolling motor only lakes. I'll go out there and just kind of hone my skills when I don't have anything else going on. I mean, it's the only way I can fish 20 minutes down the road, basically.
What lakes are down there?
So you have Lake Kedron, you
Mhm.
have Lake McIntosh, you have Lake Horton, and then you also have Lake Peachtree. So there's actually 4 trolling motor only lakes.
I've heard of Horton and
Yep.
McIntosh.
Yep.
I didn't know that.
Kedron's the one that I actually go the most. I catch a lot of big fish there. They tend to be really big and skinny,
Yeah.
but I've caught multiple 25-inch bass out of there, with the biggest weight being about 7 pounds.
That's awesome. Listen, you can't beat a good electric only lake.
They're a different experience. I mean, especially when you put the bass boat out there and you're trying to get around as quick as
Are
possible.
you allowed to put your bass boat in
Yeah,
there?
as long as you don't run the motor.
Run the motor?
Yeah.
That's good because, over here at Latham, which I still think is the best one around, you can't even have a gas tank on your.
Yeah,
they're very protected.
There's one not far from me that's like that, but pretty much all the ones within 30 minutes of me, you can at least bring it out there.
That's right. What's up, Tracy Coker and John G. Wilson? Floated and fished the Oconee River yesterday. Caught 4 spots, missed about 10 overall. Had a great day. Hey, listen, man. Any day on the water is a great day. So I'm happy for you. Glad you caught some fish. I would love to be switching with you and all that. So we're going to talk about, I told you I want to talk about versatility and fish and all that, but I want to cover your tournament stuff because you've had a hell of a year. I mean, what does it mean to you when you can sit back and say, I'm the angler of the year in a division of the Toyota series? That's a big accomplishment, dude.
Yeah. really wasn't even a goal. This is the first year I've ever fished Toyota Series. Last year I made the Toyota Series championship through the All American.
Right.
But and actually had my worst tournament I've had in about 2 or 3 years was at that Toyota Series championship. But decided I was going to just try and do one. I'm still busy enough with work to where trying to pull the full schedule, even going up to the Opens, Invitational, stuff like that was still going to be a risk for me. So I decided to do those 3 Toyota Series in the Central Division, and 2 of the lakes I'd never fished before. I'd only fished Gunnersville, hadn't done it a lot. Basically, I'd probably put in 2 days as a co-angler, 2 or 3 days as a co-angler, and maybe 8 hours out of my own boat at Gunnersville.
Right.
Went and decided to do that BFL the week before the Gunnersville Toyota, which was the first one on the schedule. And I think I got like 8th with 23 pounds in the BFL.
Yeah.
Which I show up at 23 pounds, anywhere in Georgia, you show up at 23 pounds, you're basically winning. And ended up 8th, but it gave me a lot of confidence. I was like, all right, maybe I can work with this. The day after or 2 days after the tournament, it absolutely poured. And at Gunnersville, it went from low current. You kind of go around scoping them. They'd be on bait. They'd be on different stuff, bridges, a few different other things. And the current went from, I think, 20,000 to 100,000. And
that's a big change.
Yeah.
Big change.
So went from scoping them in creeks and stuff to creeks were all blown out.
Yeah.
Had to totally flip in the last 2 days of practice, figure out how to catch the current related fish. And then for the Toyota Series, I think first day I had like almost 21 pounds, which put me in like 23rd, I think, 24, something like that. And then day 2, I had 27.6. And
that's a good day, dude.
Pretty early, weighed in pretty early. So I made a good jump. I was leading when I weighed. I was like, all right, that's cool. I'll probably be top 5. And sure enough, after the day, I ended up leading. And I was a little mind blown by that.
Oh, yeah.
Had caught an 8.6, which is my biggest ever in a tournament. And had another like 7-pounder that I caught with 10 minutes left at a spot I'd never fished in my life. And I mean,
that's how it works.
Yeah. Ain't it though? Ain't it really? Actually, that's exactly how it works.
And then so the final day 2, I had a starting spot that I had a guide sitting on, and I watched him and his clients catch almost 30 pounds.
Are you serious?
And I'm sitting 30 yards away from him, and I'm scrounging for a bite here and there.
Just dying to get over there.
And it wasn't just that they caught it. They were basically talking crap the whole time. They'd hold up a 5 or 6 pounder.
Oh, they knew what you were doing.
Oh, you wish you had this, don't you? I mean, it was kind of entertaining. It was kind of at the same time about as frustrating as it could get.
Yeah.
While also, I mean, I was catching fish. I ended up having a limit right there, but I don't think I weighed a single fish when that 27-pound limit on the spot where I watched somebody catch 30 pounds.
30 pounds. That's awful.
Final day I go there, and the guide found out I was leading, and he had a couple younger kids who they were still eating breakfast. They weren't even fishing yet by the time I got down there, and he kind of gave it 5 minutes. He goes, yeah, they're not really here today. I'm gonna let you have it. I'm like, well, I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
We'll see what happens. I ended up catching a decent little limit to get the day started. I think I had like 16 pounds there to kind of loosen me up, and then scratched and clawed all day. Ended up with 22.2, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I only had a couple ounce lead, and ended up losing by 2 ounces.
Ugh.
So it was, it was a little bit of a.
We can laugh about it now.
Right.
We can laugh about it now. Absolutely. Do you know, hey, scroll up just a second there, Blake, on them comments. Robin.
That's my mom.
That's your mom. We got to make sure to be on our best behavior right now. So
Yeah.
ain't he cute? And then Titus said something about Rocky Mountain being the best. I will say this. Listen, Rocky Mountain is excellent. But overall fishing for spotted bass, largemouth, big crappie, big shell cracker, big bluegill, you're not going to beat Latham. And plus, Latham's got the bluebacks in it. So anything you do on Lanier or Allatoona or Carter's, you can turn right around and do it on Latham. So, but Rocky is awesome. I absolutely agree. And there, Dane Hunter. So Tim McGuire and I are eating McDonald's watching you guys. So cops eating donuts and fast food. So that makes sense right there. Appreciate you guys joining us tonight. And Jason Jones, I said, let me hit Ryan's comment. Matt made Mike Guthrie think bass fishing is easy. He jumped in the boat with Matt and his it didn't pull up. Scroll it back down there, buddy. It's not pulling up on our screen. Yeah, there you Fish was a 480 spot on the OG. Thanks, Matt. These saltwater boys are never going to quit wearing me out and all that.
Yeah, that's Mick Guthrie. He's the.
I said, Mick. That's the owner, right?
Yep, owner from
Yeah,
Australia.
I met him.
So I got to put him on his first spotted bass, which he was pretty excited about. And of course, his first one was a 480.
480.
So,
see now
on his bait too. On the OG.
That's like going hunting and shooting a 12-pointer.
First time
out. You're like screwed the rest of the time because I'm the king of the 2-pound Lake Lanier bass.
You're hooked.
Huh?
You're hooked.
I'm hooked on the 2-pound. I am. That's right. Jason Jones, it looks like he's got a serious question. You mentioned with work, assuming you're doing as well as you are part-time, which is amazing. What does a day/week in the life look like between working and fishing? That's a very interesting question right there. That's a highbrow question. Good job, Jason.
For me, I do IT consulting for healthcare. So essentially, I keep an eye on things. If things are going well, it tends to be a little quiet for me. So I can bring the laptop in the boat and get away with some fishing here and there.
Yeah. He's got a mobile office.
Yeah. But if I'm busy, I'll just be sitting at home at work all week. I mean, I'm just in my office.
Yeah.
I've kind of done working from home for quite a while at this point. And I'm one of those people who, if I'm stuck at home for 3 or 4 days in a row, I stir crazy as could be.
Absolutely. I mean, my wife would drive me crazy.
So
I love you, Amanda.
I kind of appreciate getting able to mix things up and, work from the road and stuff like that. Because if I was a person who 9 to 5 every day of the week, sitting at home, not seeing anyone else, I mean, it gets a little funky sometimes.
I bet it does. I bet. So T. McGuire says, stay out of my lake, and that's Rocky he's talking about there, Titus. But, hey, buddy, if you do decide to come over to Latham, stop by the shop, I try to keep up with what they're biting over there, talking to all the guys that actually do get to go fishing, and we'll try to help you out. But it's a great lake. You should check it out. Now, we talked about – so we could talk about it kind of now. You had the success with the Toyota Series being the Angler of the Year. The runner-up, though, the last 2 years, you had – hell of a tournament, the All Americans. Watched them, and I watched you, and I was like, but you're that close, that close. Now, so you had the ups, and even though it's a good finish, you had the downs. So this is the tough question: how does it feel to be that close and just not quite get over the finish line? Because you're a very driven man. Yeah.
Weirdly, I'm a little numb to it at this point.
Yeah.
I've gotten second in 3 BFL regionals. I've gotten second in, 2 All Americans, got second in a Toyota Series.
Yeah.
I think I've gotten second in 4 or 5 BFLs.
Yeah.
I kind of am just used to, all right, you did great. Let's see how it goes. And then sometime in the weigh-in, somebody passes me.
Yeah. But you are consistent as hell.
Yeah. No,
you are,
and that's what I try to be. I mean, I like to look at each tournament and figure out a way that I know I can at least be competing. I'm never somebody who's really going into a tournament and thinking, oh, maybe I can just catch 5. Like, I always want to have a plan to, whether it be kind of in my head, I kind of look at it as if, do I have check plans or do I have winning plans? So, I mean, there's some tournaments where you kind of go into it knowing you're not likely going to win, but you need to game plan to do as well as you can.
Those are the check plans.
Yeah. And that's kind of those the last 2 Toyota Series tournaments were kind of like that for me. 2 lakes I'd never been to. I didn't go pre-practice. I just showed up and did like 4 days for each of them. And it was Smith Lake and Guntersville. And I'd always been told I would like Smith Lake. People are like, oh, yeah, I mean, it's spotted bass fishing. You'll be able to fish it like Lanier. That place sets up nothing like Lanier.
Ain't that what you were saying earlier? So so David Aldridge is in the crowd. We talked about Smith before the show.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, no, it's not like Lanier. It's deep.
No, it's not just deep. There is nothing flat. There is no like running flat points. There's one section of the lake that maybe has 20 spots that kind of set up like we would fish Lanier and Hartwell.
Yeah. And
other than that, those fish, it's just steep banks. Most of them drop straight to 100+ feet. And I mean, those fish just swim around. It's like if you took a giant river system and split it into 3 separate arms, basically.
Yeah.
And not much current. So it makes it fish really weird. I feel like those are some of the most nomadic blueback fish that are out there because they have nothing to set up on. They're just going to swim around and follow bait.
It's so funny you said that because that is almost like word for word kind of what Dave was describing when we were talking about that earlier. Because Reed Rook, who was on here a couple weeks ago, the high school angler, he's going over there this weekend to pre-fish because they've got a tournament over there in a couple of weeks. And so that was Smith Lake was the conversation and all that. But pretty much he was on steep banks, all that stuff. So it's funny you said that. Your mom, Matt, has a great, consistent attitude towards work and fishing. His daily job is not easy. You got your biggest fan on here tonight.
Thanks,
you
Mom.
Realize that? Thanks, Mom. Look at the camera right there and give a thanks, Mom, right there.
Thanks, Mom.
There you go. So mentioning that you didn't pre-fish and all that, how do you go about breaking down a brand new lake that you haven't had any time on?
You do some research. If you have a buddy who spent some time there, you just kind of reach out and say, what do you think I'm getting into? What do I need to look at? From there, I do research into what to expect for weights, what to expect for little things. I kind of start with all of that initial research. And then once I get to a lake, I kind of just go to where I feel. A lot of guys do a ton of pre-map study where they'll sit there and they'll mark a bunch of places they want to check before they even get to a lake. I do that, I guess, but it's never like a thing where I put in at a lake and I know these are 20 places I'm checking today. And then we go from there. I kind of
let your gut take over a little bit.
Yeah, I'd say so.
That's so yes, he does. We're proud to have him on our team right there. So, that goes to the versatility thing. Because when I was thinking about having you on and then talking with other people, everybody around knows you can fish. But to be successful as a pro, and I know you're aspiring to be that, and even at whatever level, you got to be able to fish the largemouth here and the spots here and spots in a different lake here. So you got to be versatile. So what do you owe your versatility to?
I think a big part has been where I'm located. I kind of have lakes surrounding me all within 90 minutes to 2 hours, 2.5 hours. I have all different lakes I can fish.
Yeah,
I've got several lakes in Alabama that I can get to in 2 to 2.5 hours. Lay Lake, Neely Henry, Lake Martin. I mean, there's all those which are all very different. And then I've put in a good amount of time at Eufaula. I've really got started at Oconee and Sinclair. The first tournament trails I ever fished were Barry's Tournament Trail, and the first ever draw tournament I did was a ABA. What do they call them? Weekend series back in the day. Now they're the ABA Opens. But I did that, I don't know, 11, 12 years now. I started doing those as a co-angler, and I found a guy to just fish the berries as a co-angler. And for 7-8 years, I basically donated them berries. I was just showing up, fishing, had a new partner almost every year because I wasn't the one with the boat. So it was like, somebody's got something else coming up, or somebody's got to back out for the rest of this season, all that kind of stuff. And Oconee and Sinclair really are where I learned how to just fish versus how it is now. Forward facing sonar and everything else. Lanier, I really didn't start putting time in until 2019 or 2020, I'd say, is when I really kind of started putting time in up there.
That's kind of when your name kind of popped on the map up here. A little bit when your name started getting thrown about.
Yeah, so it's always funny because the guys I lost the All Americans to, Emil and Paul, were the guys that when I first was getting my gritting my teeth up at Lanier, they're the guys that I was kind of losing to or seeing always at the top, things like that. So it kind of followed me onto a national level.
Yeah, but that's okay. That's okay because we know those guys as being hammers, and you're right there in that same discussion. And now, how old are you?
35.
So here's the thing though, because of all that young face that you got and that hair, I don't think people realize you're that old.
No,
you look much younger than what you are. So, but I still group you in with the young guns.
Yeah.
And not that you're older or anything, but your name started getting bannered or, thrown around a little bit as we were getting this up and going, and we're trying to figure out who's the guys on Lanier, who's the next generation and all that. And your name has always been kind of popped up. But to go fish all those other things. I like what you said. You're located pretty much central Georgia. Peachtree City is about what I consider central Georgia, Macon, that area.
Yeah, it's central Georgia before you get out in the middle of nowhere central Georgia.
Yeah. It's the last of the populated areas for a while.
Civilization.
It
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
That's where they get the golf carts everywhere, right? And
Mhm.
you
We
got-
have a golf
Peachtree
cart.
City,
You
yeah.
got Peachtree City, got the
Yeah.
golf carts. Jason Jones says, hate to ask, but have you spent any time on Allatoona? I'm consistent, but I have hit a bit of an ebb as of late. Any thoughts or juice, as it were? I'll tell you Tuesday. Kevin's going to let me fish a Monday nighter with him.
Yep.
So I will be on Allatoona Monday night if you want to come get an autograph or something like that. I'm just kidding. If you want to get an autograph from Kevin, but Kevin invited me to fish with him. I'm looking forward to it.
I need to get with Tim and we fish against you.
Huh?
I need to get with Tim and we fish against you.
You should.
We can get him in.
We should. I guess. I don't know what tournament trail is it?
It's
It's
just
the Allatoona Monday Night Trail.
Allatoona Monday night trail. Is it Bar Day in a minute?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I'd like to kick Bar Day's ass.
Barday's
Can we
in
do it?
Thurman's in it.
I love Bar Day though. I know it ain't gonna happen, but I'd like to do that.
we need to get with you, Tim.
John G. Wilson making Gray area here. Hey, I've been hunting down in Gray, off of 18 or 118 or what? There's a highway down there.
I know what you're talking about. I can't remember.
My uncle had a hunt.
Gray Highway is what I know. It as.
Listen, there is a place down there that he took me to. Love it down there. I don't get if you hunt, John, invite me down there. I'd love to go hunting down there.
You mentioned Sinclair and Oconee. Those are tough lakes to learn.
Yeah, they're different. I fish them very differently than I did for the first 8 or 10 years coming up for sure. But they've changed a lot. I mean, Sinclair now is full of hydrilla and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's totally different than it ever was.
Really?
Mhm.
Yeah, it's getting hydrilla.
I didn't know that.
Past
Yeah.
couple of years.
It's got eelgrass. It's got a little bit of everything now. Yeah, I mean,
Is
it's
it
got
fishing better.
the weights.
Can you tell in the weights of the tournaments and all
Yeah,
that?
in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 years, Sinclair and Oconee have kind of flipped. Oconee was more the better quality lake. You
Mhm.
kind of had more consistent big weights. Sinclair has always had bigger weight opportunity than Oconee. Like you're more likely to see a 30-pound bag out of Sinclair than you are at Oconee. But for a long time, Oconee was always over 20 or 20 or so.
More consistent with that.
But Sinclair now, I mean,
It has
in the
to be.
winter, you can catch 25 pounds at Sinclair now.
So let's see. So Carson Fowler, Monday night boys don't play, and hey, listen, Kevin said he needed a hired gun, so he asked me to fish with him. So
That's
I'm
correct.
just scared that I'm gonna get your boat dirty. Is all. I'm really scared about that.
I'll clean it the next morning. I'm okay with that.
Okay, but don't be too harsh
It's
on
like
me.
taking kids. I'm okay.
Well, you're my dad right there. So Clint Bartlett, I want to donate in the tuna tournament when I get back at the end of the month. We can do that. And so John G, Highway 18 and Gray Highway. There's a place down there where let's just say people of affluence in politics and stuff down there and money, they got a little cabin off back in the woods, and they would meet there to play their card games and stuff like that. And of course, I had an uncle who was into some of that, knew some of them guys back in the day, doesn't go down there anymore, but we got to stay there one weekend, and I fell in love with that place. Deer everywhere. If you're a deer hunter and you can't kill something in Gray, something's wrong with you. Danny can hit several docks for you, Kevin. Well, he said I needed to have some kind of special glow-in-the-dark line, or I'm going to
There's
be totally
not many
lost.
docks on Allatoona. We're not going to be fishing
Listen, the hell with the docks. I just need to set the trees. Keep it all.
You'll
keep it
be
in
in
the
the
water.
trees.
Yeah, I probably will right there. So, do you ever fish Allatoona?
I've fished it once in my life.
Once in your life?
I'm actually fishing the Fishers of Men. I think it's like a regional championship there
On
later
tuna,
this fall. Yeah.
This fall? When's it going to hit?
It's in September, I believe.
Are they lowering the lake by that time?
No.
October, because I got
Yeah.
a tournament there in October
Okay, maybe it is October.
at a stamp, and
This is one that I'm not keeping up too well with. I just know I'm fishing
you
it.
just know you're fishing. Yeah, well, whatever works. So the rest of the year, what are you fishing? And then what's your plans for next year? I mean, as far as like with the Toyotas and all, what are you going to try to jump into and move up to, or what's the goals?
I don't know yet. So the rest of this year, I have a couple BFL super tournaments. Then I'm doing the Skeeter Championship at Murray.
What time of year is that?
That is the last weekend of September.
So the water should cool off. You think they'll be schooling like they did for the elites and all that up there then?
Um,
Because that was a hell of a tournament to watch.
So the first BFL regional that I got second in as a boater was Lake Murray. This was 2021,
Yeah,
2022.
right.
And the final day of that tournament, I lost the winning fish about 15 times. This is about two. Yeah, this is about 2 weeks. 2 weeks before that was.
Yeah.
and I liked it. I mean, I know there's supposed to be a lot more grass there now than there was a couple years ago, so I think that'll change things a little bit. But yeah, it should be schooling. I mean, I had spots that there were giant. You'd see 5. This is the only place I've ever seen 4 to like 7 pounders come up schooling on.
See, that's what it was just crazy to watch.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually talked with what's the young kid's name on the elites?
Which one?
McKinney.
Okay.
It got brought up in the conversation with the group we're all done at ICAST. That was a fun one to watch.
He had that stuff figured out for somebody who's never fished there before. I was kind of impressed.
He's you know, I know he's rubbed some feathers, you know, but the kid can fish.
Funny story. JT Tompkins.
Is that the one he's always fishing with?
It's his buddy that also qualified for elites.
Yeah.
He was 1 spot away from qualifying 2 years in a row. I drew him as my boater when he was 17 at Lake Lanier. This was, I don't know, 6 years ago.
Right.
And he had the original Panoptics, not Panoptics Live Scope, not Live Scope Plus, the original Panoptics. He was borrowing his dad's boat because he knew he was coming to Lanier and wanted to try and use it. He had never been to Lanier in his life. He ran back and forth between 2 spots all day and for 2 days in a row and got 4th or 5th in a BFL Super Tournament. And in my head, I was like, I got to do this. I can't sit back here and watch this anymore. I went. That's as soon as I started fishing. It was boater. It was right after that tournament. Because I was like, I've got 30 places on this lake that I could go do this, and he's going back and forth to 2 and getting a top 5.
Yeah.
I mean, and
that lets you know I could do this.
Well, and he was throwing a big spy bait on like 12 or 14 pound line, and he would just burn it over him if he saw him on the Panoptics. Stuff that never works anymore. Never works anymore.
Yeah, no, I can see that.
But yeah, I mean, if you're ahead of the curve with stuff like that, it made a difference.
He was down there as well.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him. I didn't realize that's who that was. Let's see. Farmer's here. What's up? Hammer Masterclass in session with Matt there, though. So that's high praise. And don't let me throw the wacky Monday night.
Don't even pick up a worm. I hardly ever pick up a worm unless I have to.
I can throw a wacky though with anybody.
I mean, I understand.
You're telling me don't do it, Danny?
See, I'm probably 60% worm.
Yeah.
Well,
for me, if you're at a lake with bluebacks, there's about 1 month out of the year that I'll pick up a worm.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And okay, so let's try to guess the month. We're talking Lanier here, right?
Lanier, Hartwell.
Okay, so what do you think the 1 month is he picks up the worm? I know my guess.
February, March.
I was going to go May. I was going to go post-spawn.
April.
I was close. But because of post-spawn.
You went past
more like
this ain't the Price is Right.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Well,
I kind of look at it more like when you're out of pre-spawn fish.
Yeah.
But you still have spawners and some post spawners and something.
Got a little bit of everything.
Mm-hmm.
That's the time for the worm.
Yeah. Because I'm a guy who 90% of the time I'm going to try and fish for pre or post spawn. I'm not a big spawn fisherman. Never really gotten into it. I don't even have power poles on my boat, and so I mean it's just kind of something I've never tried to. You're
not a bed fisherman, is what you're saying.
Not if I don't.
If you don't have to be.
Not really.
You don't have to be.
Let me put it this way: the one time I tried to be a bed fisherman in the Toyotas this year, I was down 4-1 to my co-angler while I was trying to catch one bed fish. And I said, yep, okay, time to go down lake. And you know what he said? There's fish that live everywhere all over a lake. And I was like, nope, we're going to my fish.
Well, what nationality was he?
Eastern European.
Because I knew he was trying to put an accent right there.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay.
Yeah.
All right, that makes sense. Well, okay, so that means the other 11 months out of the year, you're throwing something moving.
Pretty much, yeah.
So would you consider yourself a power guy or a finesse guy? Because it seems to me like you do a little bit of both, but what do you consider yourself?
I probably...
Depends on the lake.
Yeah, I'd say I'm probably more finesse style fishing 60 or 70% of the time.
Right.
But if given the opportunity, I prefer to power fish. It's just kind of the way the fishing world seems to have gone a little bit.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Hey guys, so tonight, go ahead and get your first question. We're going to do 2 questions of the night tonight, and so what we're going to do on both of those, we're going to give away on this first, and we're going to give away this fashionable olive new logo leather patch hat for you guys that like the rope hat thing. All you young guys, a little bit of flat bill. And an arc sidewinder topwater bait. So this is we're going to give for the second one, we're going to give another hat in the same bait. But on this one right here, this is for the olive hat. So only one answer to this one.
That ought to be the tough question
Why?
because the first question is pretty easy.
You want to give away this hat?
Yeah, because nobody likes blue.
Nah.
Okay, so Father Time says we're going to give away the blue hat for the first one. For all the fashionable guys that like the embroidered, which I am an old school, so this is a Richardson.
You're not
Right
wearing
here.
it.
Huh?
You're not wearing a blue hat.
I got one though,
Well, why don't you wear it?
because I'm giving it away.
Okay.
All right, I'm giving
That's
it
the
away.
one you got.
That's the one I got. Yeah, I'm giving it away. So, all right. So, one answer on this, and you're gonna once you do the question, you're gonna be responsible. So I don't have to give away three.
Yeah, you
I
didn't
called it
tell
wrong.
me the answer tonight. So
Well,
Yeah, so it's only him.
it's,
So yeah.
it's up to
Give me-
him.
Give me a minute and I'll send it to you.
Oh no, you go ahead. I got you. We can do that. Put the kids to bed, Farmer, right there. So best of luck, Matt, in the Toyota series and all that. Are you ready? Or do I need to ask Matt another question?
Boo,
You gotta ask him
boo,
another question.
I gotta
boo,
ask him
boo,
another question. I
boo,
put him on the
boo.
spot right there. All right, since you're
Well, you didn't tell me you were doing it this fast.
I know, I threw it on there. We're going by the flow, dude. I realize hey, listen, he has his own parking spot too here. Did you see it when he pulled up? I
didn't.
took the handicap spot and I put a
That was my parking spot.
that's where he parks every Thursday. So this time I put a
Got
father
it, Blake?
I put a father time parking on his handicap spot. So are you ready now?
I'm ready.
All right. So here's the question tonight for the first one for the blue hat and the sidewinder.
All right. The question is, in the movie A Fistful of Dollars, what was Clint Eastwood's character's name in the script? Again, in the movie A Fistful of Dollars, what was Clint Eastwood's character's name in the script?
And why do we need to know it's in the script? You gonna give them that hint?
No,
You're not gonna give them a hint?
no.
It's-
They'll get it real easy.
They'll get it with AI.
I
And
know
all that.
Clint will.
Clint, yeah, he probably will.
Clint's working.
Have you had to get tougher with the questions because people Google them so
Oh
fast?
my Lord!
Hey, AI him.
2 weeks ago we couldn't. Nobody answered it.
The next question it'll keep them a little while.
There you go, Tony. Tony won right there.
It's
Joe.
Joe.
And here's the reason why it's in the script, because in the movie, his name is not mentioned one single time.
That's where they came up with the
Man with no
United
name.
Artist, Man with No Name.
Alan McCready said that, the man with no name. So Matthew Smith, you were close, but we're going to call it for Tony, right? Is that the first one? That's
Yep.
what I see. All right, Tony, I got your address because you're pretty consistent with this. So you guys, you'll have another chance. So I'm going to give that to Tony. And here in about another 20, 25 minutes, we'll give away the other one. You said you'd rather power fish if given the opportunity. So what's your favorite power fishing baits? And if you were a power fisherman right now, what would you be concentrating on? If that's all you can do is power fish.
For me, power fishing these days a lot of times has to do with a glide. I love throwing a glide.
Love
bait.
the glide baits.
Yeah. I've had 4 or 5 tournaments this year where glides have played a big factor.
And so what kind of glides are you at liberty to say?
I think this year I've had better luck with the Spro glide than I have tournament wise,
Right?
than I have with a lot of my regular, my nicer ones, my $200-$300 ones.
Oh, you got some of those?
Yeah, I've got some clutches. I've got some of the original KGBs, the ones that Spro made. But yeah,
Right.
no, I've got a decent little collection. It's nothing crazy, but
So you don't have a Jeremiah Giles 532,000 collection like that?
No, nothing too crazy. I mean, for the most part, tournament wise, for me, it's size, action, and like speed of fishing it. So
Yeah.
I mean, some of them have the tight kick. Some of them have the nice wide S turns.
Right.
Some of them are smaller. Some of them are bigger.
Do you have a preference? Like if you could pick one and that was the only one you got to fish with, would it be like the big glide or the
No,
tighter
I'm
kick?
more of a choppy kind of guy.
The
I
choppy
like
guy.
Chad just all around is probably my favorite one all around.
Okay. If I wanted to go, can I throw a glide this time of year right now?
Yeah.
And what would you be concentrating on?
Um,
And what kind of lake? Would you even throw that on Lanier, or is this more of a largemouth lake?
No, this is probably more largemouth lake or even current fishing. I think they're really good current,
Mhm.
especially once it's hot, just because current fish are more aggressive, more keen to bite when it's hot. So, I mean, if you're a river fisherman or a creek fisherman, you can go catch them on a glide pretty well this time of year, I would say.
Now, do you choose your color on your glides based upon sunlight? Like the
To a
amount of
certain
sun?
extent, yeah.
So
I mean,
like if we had an overcast dark day, what kind of, just give me some kind of tones.
just kind of either like a straight shad tone, white or bone.
Okay.
I mean, on the cloudy days, I think you really can't go wrong with it being pretty natural, but at the same time kind of bright. You don't want something that's too subtle color-wise.
Do you buy into the chrome in the sunshine?
Yes, I kind of almost prefer it in that like bright cloudy
Right.
situation
Yeah.
because I feel like it's not overpowering versus like chrome for like a glide bait or something like that in straight sun. I feel like it just has to look like a chandelier to them down there.
Too bright.
Yeah,
So
but
you can get too bright.
well, yeah, and I'm not.
Yeah.
My glide bait fishing usually isn't blueback lakes. It's more largemouth.
Largemouth.
I mean, Tennessee River stuff was fun. I caught a couple on a glide in the Chickamauga Toyota. I mean, I caught glide fish in my when I won the Berries Championship this year. I was catching glide fish at Sinclair and Oconee. So I mean, I kind of will do it anywhere. It's just got to have the right. You got to have the right opportunity to what you're doing, or the right opportunity costs with what you're doing with a glide bait. If you're at a lake like Neely Henry, a lot of little fish, smaller spots, you stumble into a big one every once in a while, but it's not worth the opportunity cost. You're losing too many opportunities at bites at a lake like that if you're throwing a glide to me.
So that was going to kind of lead into my next question. What is the situation where nobody should ever throw a glide? Just waste of time. For a guy that might be thinking about throwing them, when would he be wasting his time?
They can be good around. Really, they can be used year round. It's different. There's just different purposes. So saying when is kind of not the right way to put it. I would say there's certain places where I would never bother throwing a glide.
Okay, where would that be?
Just the lakes where you're catching at biggest a 3-pounder.
Okay,
I mean,
if you know the fish are not,
if you have opportunities
averaging.
to be catching 4 and 5 pounders consistently or 3+ pounders consistently, I feel like the glide can be the deal because those fish are just more keen to eating a bigger bait.
Yeah,
you go to a lake like the last example, Neely Henry, or some of those Alabama lakes, or like Smith. I mean, you could go throw a glide and probably do pretty good on certain days. But you're throwing a glide at fish that are, you catch a 3-pounder, you feel like you caught a giant at Smith Lake. I mean, just for a 3-pounder to get a glide is not the easiest thing ever. Now, Steve Kennedy was doing it when the elites were there. And I mean, I was a guy I was talking to at the Toyota weigh-in was talking about how like certain days you would go smash them on a glide there. But for me, am I going to throw a glide all day for the opportunity to have, a bunch of 2.5-pounder swipe at it and never get it, or something that
just kind of wasting your casts.
Yeah. In a way.
So John G wants to know, without forward facing sonar on Sinclair for September, and he's a kayak guy, what would be your go-to bait? Wondering because I'm actually a worm kind of guy.
Probably a Carolina rig.
Okay. No ball and chain.
Yeah.
Spots on Sinclair.
There's some good flat points near deep water. September at Sinclair still almost fishes is basically like late summer. It's because it's not going to have cooled off enough. I mean, it's either that or if the water's up a little bit, if it's not totally out of the grass in September, throwing a frog around the bank grass there is good too. But I mean, and you can get away with throwing a worm on the edge of you can get away with throwing a shaky head on the edge of that bank grass, because how it'll work is water comes up, fish will get in the grass and eat. Water comes down, which they do it daily at Sinclair.
Yeah, because that goes between Oconee and Sinclair, pump back. Yep.
They'll get in the grass. You can catch them in the grass. They suck the water out. Those fish just pull out and they just hover around the edges. They pull out to like the deep ends of the docks.
Yeah.
That's a lake that I think a lot of people kind of always fish it the same way when they go. And when I show up, the first thing I'm looking at is what they've done with the water, because it kind of changes how those fish seem to act first thing.
You fish Sinclair any?
Yeah, I was really appreciative of them telling me about the glide bait in September, because I fish berries. Yeah.
You still fish the berries?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't know you still fish the berries.
I've been fishing berries.
I knew you did. I didn't know you were
Probably
still
12 years.
Really?
Or longer, yeah.
How long has the berries been around?
Long time.
Was you there at the start?
No. No, thank you, though.
That was an old joke.
I know where you're coming from.
Sky Flawless and some dollar signs. Power bait lime green. Well, I guess if you're fishing for trout, I guess that will work. Reed Rook. Hey, kid, appreciate you coming hanging out with us. For someone who has fished a decent amount of BFLs and hoping to hop in a few Toyotas this year. How is the competition jump from your normal BFL to a Toyota?
It kind of depends on whether you're looking at it from a boater or a
He will
co-angler
be a boater.
perspective.
He'll
He's
be a boater. He'll be a
Okay.
boater.
It's definitely tougher, but it's different.
Do you know who Reed is?
No, I don't
So
think
Reed
so.
Reed is he's 17. He fishes for Dawson County High up here, and he's actually him and his former partner won Anglers of the Year in the Georgia Bass
very
Nation.
cool,
So
yeah.
he kick and fish. He was a guest last week. So we talked about this.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, so
I saw it a little
he's
bit.
thinking about making that jump. So,
Yeah.
So he kind of knows what he's doing a little bit.
The overall competition is very good. The difference, though, is that in BFLs, I'd say there's a solid 20% of a field at a BFL at any given lake that are going to be kind of local hammers. They're the guys because I mean, you divide a division 5 ways. You got to figure how people are going to decide to fish a BFL division based on where the lakes are. More than likely, each given lake in a BFL division, there's some hammers. Toyotas, you will get some of the local hammers, but you got to remember you're going to have 200 plus boats in a Toyota. So there might be 150 guys out of 200 that have very little experience at that lake and maybe just kind of have the money to go fish another level versus how BFL guys tend to be a little bit more, they're not just rich guys traveling around and doing kind of a hobby that they enjoy.
Right. Yeah.
BFL guys are showing up to fish the lake they know, try and win a tournament there. So you kind of have that advantage in my mind where if you know you're a really good angler, you know you're going to be consistently around fish, Toyotas kind of give you an opportunity to say, all right, well, if I get the top 1/3 or 1/4, I'm already like basically cashing checks.
Gotcha. Okay. That's good. So Reed, that's some good advice right there for you, kid. Matthew Smith, how much time do you spend on Oconee's large offshore rock versus docks? So do you like the offshore rock or you like the docks better?
Neither one.
You don't? Okay. Well, you.
No, he's.
No, I actually, that's a lot of what I fish at Oconee is both of those two things.
Which one you like better? Talking a lot about Oconee and Sinclair.
Right. When they're.
Didn't expect that, did you?
No. When they're on the rock, it can be pretty fun. They're not always on the rock, or there's a lot of little ones on the rock. But the docks at those lakes can be very hit or miss too. Like you can run docks for half a day and not catch anything, even though they live around them.
That's what a lot of guys talk about though when they come in the shop. Every time Oconee's mentioned, it's flipping jigs around docks.
Yeah, got to be in the right group of docks too.
Yeah,
right group of docks.
They're
different docks than what we got on Lanier, aren't they? The kind of got
they're poles.
They're pole docks.
Poles, and you can get some pretty deep ones. You can get pole docks that go down 25 feet in the front.
Gotcha.
Hard to find them on Sinclair though.
Yeah, it's a little different.
So you would say you spend more time on the docks versus offshore if that was your game?
I'd put more time on the docks. There's certain times of the year where I might put more time on the rock, I guess.
Okay.
But either way, I'm always fishing a few docks at least at Oconee.
Okay. So now the question earlier was without forward-facing sonar, and this one's with forward-facing sonar. On Oconee in September, what and where are you fishing? We need coordinates and we need cut,
Well, this is
what are you going to concentrate on?
That's Spencer.
Is that Spencer?
Spencer.
The Flying Hawaiian?
Yep.
Well, hey, Spencer.
The first time I ever won a tournament against Barry's kind of guys was the I call it the COVID Open. So it was on a weekend where Barry's was canceled right after COVID hit. And they had a decent sized tournament still, and we still had polygraph and still had, same entry fee as normal. And Spencer and I showed up and fished it, and we won. And that's the first time I ever won against all the Barry's guys. So Spencer kind of has an idea of what I need to do. But September, Oconee, what and where are you fishing?
Or what technique are you more likely to use?
I like throwing a jerk bait. It's
jerk bait
over there that time of year.
Okay.
I mean, you can run a lot of offshore stuff that people aren't hitting too much because it's Oconee and Sinclair. They're not as known for offshore stuff.
Correct.
Water's normally clear in September because usually you're not getting a lot of rain through July and August.
Right.
So kind of dirty it up, and they tend to eat a little better. So usually like a jerk bait down lake is kind of what I'm going to be doing out there.
Did James Bond watch go off?
It went off. There's a lot of locals that fish berries and Oconees too, in Sinclair, right?
Oh yeah.
Ton of locals.
Oh, I'm sure. I'm sure. Do you like it better than fishing Alatoona?
Oh, heck yeah.
Really?
I do.
Competition
I
better
like
down
the
there?
docks on Sinclair.
Well,
and
that
Laconia.
goes more into your wheelhouse. You like doing
I'm
that.
shallow water fishing.
Shallow water guy. Yeah,
Bank
he's a
beater.
bank beater. You mentioned the Carolina rig on Sinclair. Now, we're helping John G out. Now, John G, I want you to hit me on Facebook tomorrow. Message me. I don't know if you catch fish with what Matt's telling you right here. What soft plastic? Thanks a lot for your answers. I'll put them to use in the morning. So if you were going to, maybe not the specific color or whatever, but what would you have on your ball and chain?
For Carolina rig, I am pretty much always using either a finesse worm, like a trick worm, essentially, or a cross style bait, like a speed craw. And then certain times I'll use a brush hog style bait. But
So
it's basically one of those,
kinda...
basically one of those three options for the most part.
Okay, well there you go. It was a BFL, not a bear. You said the Flying Hawaiian.
I'm talking about the tournament we won together, but if he's talking about, because the BFL is at Oconee in September.
Danny shut me down on my tuna question. Is this a partisan live show now? No. What was his question again? I did not mean to do that, Jason Jones. He was asking, what did he ask?
I think he asked if I'd ever fished tuna or what I would.
Put it again there. So that, because he'd have to go back up and find it. Put it again, Jason. I did not mean to shut your question down. I absolutely am not partisan. If there's water and you can fish it, I believe you should fish it.
It was pretty early on.
Yeah. So put it again if you don't mind doing that for me. Going back down. Let's get the next. Going back down to the recent one. So, like the new studio, guys. Thank you very much. We are getting up in the world right there. We're trying to.
Can we go back to the glide baits?
Huh?
Can we go back to the glide baits?
Can we go back to the glide baits?
Yeah. So
ask your question there, Blakey boy.
You were basically saying that you can throw them year round. When are you breaking down like the size and the weights and all that on the glide baits? Because I know you can throw anywhere from a 12-inch to like a 6-inch. Yeah. How do you determine, your size? Are you going off the bait fish? Are you going off time of the year, water clarity? How are you breaking it down? Which glide bait to throw when and what time of the year?
As a guy who's mostly focused on tournaments, I really can't see myself ever throwing a bigger than a 7 or 8 inch in tournaments.
Right.
I think that those 6-inch are the best kind of all around for getting bites on top of also having better opportunity at bigger bites.
That's what my wife says.
But
goes the rabbit hole.
Sorry, Miss O'Connell.
But so the final day of the BFL All American, this past one at Cherokee, I was in 8th going into the final day, and I knew I hadn't never caught a glide bait fish at Cherokee in my life, but I knew I was like, I'm in 8th. There's only 10 guys that make it to the final day. Why not go, swing a little bit in the morning? And there was a little shad spawn bite, kind of a chatterbait shad spawn bite. You're skipping marina docks,
right?
And it wasn't happening. And I pick up the glide. First, I picked up my regular Chad, the KGB one. And I get 2 swirls on it in that marina right after I'd given up on the chatterbait. I mean, and within 15 minutes, I had 2 come up and try and get it. And I'm like, okay, this is something to this. Yeah.
You're establishing a pattern.
Right. And but I noticed something was off. Like the action I was getting out of the KGB was a little off. And I don't know if mine needs to be tuned or what the deal was. So I decided, I was like, clearly this seems like the right approach, but something's a little off. Like when I would really chop it hard, because I'm one where I want to get a fish on it and then I want to make it eat. I don't want to, I'm not just waiting for them to decide. Well, I was like, I got to try the Spro because, the same thing had happened to me at the Berries is trying the KGB, can't make it work. As soon as I switch to the Spro, I catch 2 on it. Don't know what it is. I think it's almost because they're almost more mechanical. Instead of them being as smooth of a glide, it's a little more like when you chop it, it's going to chop. It's not going to want to
do that big, slow. Yeah, I got you.
So, but for me, it's so hard for me to want to throw something bigger than that in a tournament situation because I know a 7-pounder when it sees a 6-inch shad is still going to be just as interested as it would with a 9-inch or a 10 or a 12. It's still a big bait. It's still something that's filling up its mouth.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to kind of always lean that way. But then Really the biggest difference for me with the glides is like in the winter, I might go a little more of like the slow S kick style versus the choppy fast ones.
Yeah.
But I'd say probably 8 or 9 months out of the year, I'm always going to be trying to chop with a
So yeah,
glide
so
bait.
you don't really vary that much in what.
No. And I've figured out that they'll kind of, if they're on that deal, it's not really a time of year thing. It's almost a day-to-day thing.
Do you ever use the glide as a indicator bait and then have something to follow it up? Like when you
That's
said
what I
you
was
saw them
gonna
two come
ask.
up and swirl. I've heard a lot of guys, like even when they're the mag
Yeah.
drafts, they know they're not going to. Well, I don't say they know they're not, but a lot of guys know the odds of hooking up on the mag draft or getting that hit are not as good, but the fish show themselves, and then they'll follow it up with a wacky or a jig or something like that. Do you ever use it in that situation?
I do a little bit. I like to use the glide to get fish's mood figured out. So if I've got places that I know have fish sitting on them, they're not acting right when I throw 3 or 4 different things at them. A lot of times I'll just pick up the glide. Even if I got to let it sink 20 feet, I want to see what those fish want to do. And more often than not, if you've got the right kind of fish that are willing to eat, they're at least going to think about it. Versus when you throw just a worm, or when you just throw, you really crankbait by some fish, stuff like that. You might get one quick little reaction, but you're not really gauging the fish's mood for the day.
Right.
When I throw that glide on them, if I get 5 fish come out of a school and get on it and are chasing it and getting on it, and they might not commit to it, but I know they're at least willing to come up and chase, it'll help me with how I want to do everything else for the day.
That makes sense. How much when throwing a glide, I guess you're still utilizing your forward facing a little bit because you're wanting to see, like if you're throwing it over a brush pile or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it comes down to kind of seeing how the fish are reacting. If I'm throwing it around docks and stuff, it's not quite as much.
Right.
I mean, I'm still trying to use it, but it's definitely more of just like when they pop out, they pop out.
All right. So Jason Jones, hey, listen, never hate to ask.
Okay? I think we answered this question.
Huh?
We answered this already.
I'll do it again. But anyway, again, never hate to ask a question here. There's no dumb questions. I will ask them. Hate to ask, but have you been on tuna lately? No, I have not. You have, Kevin. So you might can answer on this. I fish pretty regularly there, but it's getting a lot more obtuse. Any thoughts or juice regarding whether Danny is fishing there Tuesday night or not? I'm fishing Monday night with Kevin. But you fished out tuna lately, and I know some guys fished it this weekend. The only juice I can tell you is they did really good on jig, the guys that I talked to.
Yeah, I'd be throwing
the jig bite. And that's a late evening night tournament that I was talking to that guy about.
Well, I told you I'm a weighted Senko, so I'd be throwing a jig, a Senko, black spinner bait, and a drop shot.
A drop shot at night?
Yeah.
Really?
The weight bouncing makes noise.
There, Jason Glaze. There you go. Is my cousin. What speed reel do you use for your glide?
Either a 7 or an 8. Just depends on what I'm really trying to do. Like the clutch darter.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, you pretty much have to throw it with an 8.
It's got to be a little faster.
Yeah, you got to be able to really chop, 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 make it kick, kick, kick.
So you do it more with your reel than your rod?
Yeah. With some of them, I kind of do a combination, a little bit of a rod twitch as I do the chop. But some of them, you can do it straight reel.
Just straight with the reel and use the speed of the reel to give you that. So, Jake Sisavath, I hope I said that right. What's the biggest spot you ever caught on a glide?
I don't know.
Have you ever caught a true giant?
I don't think I've ever caught a true giant spot on a glide. I think maybe biggest is like 4.5. I mean, I've caught probably, 15 fish 5 pounds or better this year on a glide, 15 largemouth, but I don't really know that I've ever caught true giant.
Spots are a weird creature.
Yeah.
They'll surprise you and hit things that you don't think that they would. And just, I know you're consistent with like the OG and your topwater stuff. You're always posting pics of that. But yeah, with the glide, that's an interesting question.
Well, and it's so hard for me to go do it at Lanier.
100%.
I mean, I know I'm giving up so much to go throw a glide at Lanier. There's so
many other ways to do it. Yeah. I can see that.
Yeah.
Kevin, do you have much luck on the drop shot at night on tuna? And if you don't care to tell, what color do you throw?
I'm throwing the morning dawn with the chartreuse tail.
At night?
Let me explain. I fished with a guy by the name of Darren Downey, and I was in the front of the boat working a shaky head. He was in the back of the boat. He was probably 5 to 1 on me. So he turned me on to the shaky head. To the drop shot at night. Yeah.
But the color, I'm curious as to why.
Morning dawn chartreuse tail at night.
I don't doubt you. I just,
At night.
I mean, okay, well, then I'm going to ask both of you this question. If you can get away with throwing a morning dawn chartreuse tail at night, why the hell does everybody want to throw a black spinnerbait?
Well, I only throw it when the wind's up. And you got.
I understand, but you know what I'm saying? Everybody thinks a spinnerbait at night, automatically it's got to be black. And I've never.
Well, it's.
You see what I'm saying?
I think the silhouette.
Right?
And everybody talks about that, but I also think it's a big fish bait.
Yeah, I guess so. What do you think about that?
I think at night the fish just aren't using their vision nearly
All
as much.
lateral line and
A
everything.
lot more of it.
That's why you got
That's-
that big blade.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean,
And you're
because
dragging the bottom with it anyway. So.
Correct.
Because
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're in the woods at night and you let your eyes adjust, you can kind of see, but you're still not seeing the exact details of anything.
100%. That's right.
So I mean, if you're a fish, I know fish's eyes don't work exactly like ours, but I also know that I guarantee that they can't just blatantly see what's swimming by them at night and
I
when
agree
it's
with
dark.
that. Yeah.
But there's also a reason why they talk about full moon fish eating so much more and how the bite can be tougher during the day in the full moon, because the full moon gives them that silhouette where they can then also go back to using vision a little bit more.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense.
I'm not worried about the color of the blade so much as I am the skirt and the spinnerbait.
Are you fishing with Kevin at night instead of the day in case Kevin has to go to the bathroom? I've already said this for those of you, if you know, you know, but if Kevin has to go to the bathroom during this tournament, I'm pulling the phone out. I'm going to get visual proof of your butt buck naked. I'll put that little headlamp on and I'll shine you.
Mosquitoes are pretty bad at night.
We'll just see. That'd be the interest right there. Robert Robleski, what's up, buddy? I love a good glide bait bite. I think everybody loves it if they can get it. And I mean, if you're watching videos, some of the most impressive ones, top water's always there.
Mhm.
But watching that big, long glide and all of a sudden just a monster come up there, it does attract the senses,
Oh, yeah.
you know. But I kind of agree with you more like the smaller ones like that, they're going to eat it regardless.
I mean, I caught biggest fish of the BFL All American this year on a glide. It was final day. Catch like a 5-pounder. I mean, at Cherokee Lake, a 5-pounder was absolute giant. And I mean, I boat flipped it. I didn't even care.
You both flipped it?
Yeah, I got that thing. It hooked up with about 15 feet of line out there. I just
Kept it coming.
kept it coming and got it in.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's give away the other hat. Now, listen, Clint Bartlett said the reason he didn't answer the first question
I saw
was
that.
because this is more like him, because he's a young, fashionable dude and all that. We'll give him a bathroom break. There you go. You want to do a play-by-play of him in the restroom? All right, here we go. All right, now listen. This one's going to be a little bit tougher, so you guys better be ready. Did you give Blake the answers to these?
Yeah, he's got them.
He's got them on this, so we're prepared this time. All right, this is for an arc sidewinder and the fashionable, what I call grandpa hat, but the rope hat. So like that with our new leather patch Fish North Georgia logo. And if you don't win any of these hats, you always can go to our
buy
website.
'em
I've got, I
here.
think, about 90% of our hats on there. We got a bunch of them in, and we got more coming. So we're going to be an apparel company as well. So are you ready, sir?
I am ready.
All right. How many answers?
There are 5 answers to this.
5
One
answers.
question.
One
5
question,
answers.
5 answers. And again, we do this every week. Don't put 2 or 3 of them because you're just telling somebody else, because yours might be right, but you got to have all 5 at one time in your question. Fair enough?
I got it.
That's the way to go. All right, shoot. Go ahead.
In 2023, while competing in Major League Fishing, what anglers were known as the Fab Five?
Say
I'll
it
repeat it.
one more time.
In 2023, while competing in Major League Fishing, what anglers were known as the Fab Five?
All right,
Clint's,
there you go.
Clint's
So
going
there's
to get
5
this easy.
anglers, and we're going to continue our conversation. And you got Kevin is watching it like a hawk. So let me know who wins. Okay, you got it.
I got it.
You got it. All right, there. That's for
Blake
this
and I
hat
are
right
throwing
here.
it.
Yeah. Okay, Blake's
Yeah, I
got it
got
in
it.
there. You good, Blake?
Yeah.
You feel better now? Oh yeah. All right. So I don't know whatever. Oh, I don't even know. I hate MLF.
Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this: if you got your choice, what would you fish?
Like at the top level,
Top level.
bass.
You fish bass.
I'm a 5 fish guy.
You like the 5 fish guy. I agree
Yeah.
with you on that.
Yeah.
All right. Ooh, Jake was quick with that.
Wrong.
But close. Sal Pinto, what's up, Matt?
Nowhere.
Craftmaster. We start our high school season second week in September on Hartwell. What do you think the bite will be?
Probably. I mean, they're probably grouped up on some humps and points, brush, that kind of deal.
Very similar to what's going on Lanier.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you can catch a few doing some different stuff at Hartwell that time of year, but
Is that
I'll
what
be
you
at Hartwell next weekend. I mean, I'm planning to just try and run that deal.
run that deal next weekend?
Mhm.
And Hartwell still, it's not cooled off a lot in September. When does it start kind of dropping temps normally?
It really, it's kind of when we get those first couple cold fronts is really when you kind of gauge it. Usually it's not till late September,
Right.
for pretty much anywhere south of the mountains.
Yeah.
But
So, probably still on a summertime pattern.
it'll be summer, but I think September is that first time where they really start changing what they're keying in on. They get on that smaller bait. They start getting on a little bit, just kind of,
That was
they group up and get in bigger schools sometimes
Right.
versus being scattered on a million different brush piles.
Yeah.
There's some little things that change by then.
I'm
for
glad
sure.
you said that, because that was my very
No.
next question.
Wrong.
A lot of guys talk about late summer, early fall, especially with top water action, all that. They notice that the fish are keying in on smaller bait. They can see the smaller bait popping out on that. And so that's why I was going to ask you kind of what time of year does that start? Say even on Lanier up here, is it about the same time?
I think around now, honestly, is when it
Around
kind of
now?
starts. Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I went to Lanier last Friday and then I went there today. I didn't get there till almost lunchtime today, but just went to go because I was coming up this way anyway.
Right.
It changes quick when that water hits mid 80s. There's something about those fish, 81, 82, 83, they don't really mind too much.
Mhm.
As soon as it hits like 85 consistently, it seems like those fish totally change. They go from, wanting to come up and bust to where you got to, like, if you're going to get them to come up on top water, you have to make them. They have to
Got to work for it.
they see some commotion up there, something along those lines. It's not like a month ago where you could throw out there and, any little thing going over their head draws their attention.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of little changes that happen. I mean, last year we had the BFL the last weekend of August for Lanier, and it was everybody who did good wasn't fishing schools on brush. Everybody that did good was changing totally, minnow fishing, stuff like that. I mean, you go for the little groups that are swimming around following bait versus relating to the brush, because I mean, by now those fish that are living on a brush pile have had the same baits thrown at them for 3 months.
100%. They gotta be getting tired of it.
Yeah.
Matthew Smith, he wants to know, what are your strategy differences targeting Hartwell versus Lanier bass? Because I'll say this, in the TAA, when it was off limits on Lanier, a lot of guys went up to Hartwell.
Yeah.
Went up to Hartwell and they figured, okay, whatever they're doing on Hartwell is going to play.
Yeah, a lot of the
Lanier.
elites before Murray stopped at Hartwell and Lanier and fished a couple days.
So what would your strategy differences be?
I think the biggest difference between Hartwell and Lanier is Hartwell has a bigger largemouth population. And for me, one of the biggest factors for Hartwell is whether the largemouth are kind of mixed in with the spots or they're doing their own thing.
Yeah.
There are certain times of the year where you can catch big largemouth out just like you would fish offshore for spots, just like you would do the typical blueback deal. And then there's other times of the year where you feel like you catch 40 spots and you don't catch a single largemouth.
Right.
And it's getting to be a little. 3 or 4 years ago, I looked at it like there's times at Hartwell you have to go largemouth fishing. I don't think it's quite that cut and dry. I think the largemouth just kind of flow back and forth. The largemouth will get on the bank, then they come out off the bank.
Right.
They just kind of go back and forth. But that's the biggest difference. Lanier, there's a good largemouth population, but I don't think it acts quite as. It's not as obvious when they go back and forth.
Yeah.
Plus, you just don't get as many consistent 3.5+ pound spots at Hartwell as you do at Lanier.
That's right.
Like Hartwell has gotten much better. You catch a lot of big spots there now, but you are much more likely, if you pull up on an offshore school at Hartwell, to be stuck catching 2 and 2.5 pounders.
Is the fluke still playing at that time?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I know. Anytime Hartwell comes up,
Mm-hmm.
seems like the fluke is always in the conversation.
Yeah. No.
Always in the conversation.
Yeah, and I kind of like Hartwell, the way its docks set up and things like that. I almost are a little better than Lanier at times. I don't know why. I just kind of feel that way. You pull into certain pockets at Hartwell and you can get a bite on like every dock versus Lanier. I don't know. I've kind of gotten away from fishing docks at Lanier as much anymore.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't really.
But you like that offshore game.
Yeah, I mean,
You love the offshore game.
Yeah. And
Are we getting any closer to giving away that hat?
Kevin,
No.
are you sure you got the right answers?
Yeah.
Ah,
So you two go double check on that.
got the right.
He got the man
well,
says
I'm
the
just
right
saying.
answers. He brought the magazine this time. When it comes to the offshore game,
Mhm.
I meant to tell you too. Remember me talking about Trey McKinney earlier? He just messaged me. He said he'll come on the show after the Northern Swing.
Cool.
So there you go. So after the Northern Swing, we will have Trey McKinney on the show. So I might see if I can get his buddy too. So
yeah, JT.
we'll see. It'd be pretty cool if I can get them on.
Mhm.
When it comes to the offshore game,
Mhm.
seems there's two types of guys, and we're going to be talking Kitech, swim base, those kind of things. Seems like it falls into two camps. You got your underspin guys, and you got your ball head jig guys. Do you fall into one of those two camps, or do you use both?
No, so today on my boat, because I was trying to just kind of figure some stuff out. Today on my boat, I had an underspin, a 3/8 ounce jig head with a cast echo on it. I had a 3.
I love those things too.
Yeah, I had a 3.5-inch echo rigged hover rig style with the nose weight.
Right.
I had a 5.4-inch echo rigged hover rig style with the nose weight. I also had trying to think what else I had to sink down to them.
so you was trying to key in on bait size, correct?
Kind of. I'm just noticing they're not coming up like they do normally.
Right.
And you got to get down to them. So
Yeah.
I was trying a little bit of it all. Underspin. The thing I've noticed about underspin a lot lately is there's some days where it's really, really good, but there's some days where they just swim up to it and don't eat it.
Yeah.
Or they nip at it and you don't get them.
Right.
But I'd say in the winter, I'm probably more of a little bit more of a jig head guy than an underspin guy.
Okay. I just noticed guys will come in the shop, and first of all, and I'm not blowing smoke up Ryan and them's butt, that the cast, the Prodigy and the Echo, the material that it's made out of is far superior to a Kitech.
The Kiwi BFL, the first BFL this year, I think I caught about 30 spots at Kiwi on one echo.
See, and that's it.
On a hover hook with no bait keeper. It was the ones that are made for jig molds,
Right.
with no bait keeper.
Really?
No super glue or anything.
See, that's it.
And it's because there was no bait keeper, so it didn't tear the material.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you have your distance right between where the bend comes out and the bend goes in, it's not going to want to shimmy up and down because you've got those set right, and you've got two things holding it in place.
Yeah.
But once I've switched to using some of the bait keeper ones, I get 5 or 6 fish because the bait keeper tears it up.
But that's still superior.
But
to
it's
a
still,
Kitech.
yeah. I mean, a Kitech, it's 1-2 fish most of the time.
And it could be sometimes just a bite.
Oh, yeah.
Or two,
Yeah.
and
Oh,
it
yeah.
just rips it up.
One
miss
grabs
fish.
the back half and pulls.
You can't deny the motion and the fish catching of a Kitech.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, if you're going to spend the money, the cast bait is better.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I find it,
Yeah.
and that's again, and I know you throw cast and all
Mhm.
that, but that's as a general rule. I never bragged on anything until I threw that cast braid. So I mean, I'm not going to say nothing unless it's really good, I think. But
You turned me onto it.
do you like it?
I love it. I just wish they would come out with a chartreuse color.
So we got to get you to work on that. We need a pure.
We had
high-vis
an
yellow.
internal discussion about this topic recently.
And is it to the positive?
They'd like to not. They like the way ours stands out. It's different.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And if you go with any of those other specific colors, you're kind of copying other people.
I
Yeah, but
understand.
the
that.
chartreuse is the one that sold out most on the shelf.
Yeah.
So there's a reason for that.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That's because blind asses like you and I can see it.
Well, I'm okay with it.
I like it, but I tell you what, that has some smooth
It
casting
is,
braid.
and it
It's
casts.
some smooth
Oh, yeah.
casting braid. I have to thank my cousin Jason that asked that question.
Yeah.
He's the one that turned me on to it like that. So makes it look like all of our other competitors' braids. We
Yeah.
get that. We understand that 100%. But I will go in, and if I had the choice, no matter what brand it is, I'm going to buy the high vis yellow just because I think I mean, and maybe it's mental,
Yeah.
but I feel like I can see the pop on it. Or
Yeah.
see the,
I think the next most likely color would be like a gypsy color because they really like that pink.
Pink, yeah, but just something.
Pink
you know
has
what
a
I'm saying?
good stands out, just
Yeah.
like kind of chartreuse does.
could
You get a
see
nice
that.
I
bright
could see
pink.
pink. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
could
could
see
use
pink.
And
like that.
there's not as many brands that are coming out with a color
Yeah.
like that.
I get that too, looking like everybody else.
Yeah.
But it does at least for me, I do like to be able to see that.
Yep.
So we'll come out with a Fish North Georgia version of cast, and it can be high vis yellow, and they can just blame it on us.
I'm for it.
You know, like that pink/white. So yeah, I like that.
Yep.
I like that. But the reason, back to the jig head question,
Mhm.
the reason I ask is guys will come in here, and it seems like now they're falling into one of two camps.
Okay.
They're either full-time jig head,
Mhm.
hate the underspin.
Yeah.
They've seen too many of the underspins. That's what those guys will say. And then you got the guys that will throw nothing but the underspin. So I didn't know if you were one camp or the other, if you used one more than the other. And with forward-facing sonar, does it even make a difference?
I mean, I look at them as two different tools.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more likely these days to use more of a straight tail minnow or a underspin than I am to use a paddle tail, in all honesty.
I could be talked into Gypsy, Ryan said.
Exactly.
Yeah. But I hope Ryan, since I do have your attention, I hope you understand kind of what we're saying is like, I'm used to throwing a high vis yellow. I will not buy any other color braid except for maybe if I throw braid on top water.
Yeah.
And most of the time I don't even throw it on top water. I'm an old mono guy on that. But on my spinning reels, I won't buy another color until I got the cast now, and I'm always going to throw it. But I just, there's part of me is like, boy, I wish I had some glow in the dark yellow. But I could throw pink. Really appreciate the kind words. We're working hard and creating the best product possible. Listen, dude, I'm just trying to get you to sponsor my show. No, I was kidding. Michael Temples, any certain type of underspin?
I prefer a spot choker. Queen tackle makes a very good finesse underspin, but it's finessey. It's tungsten head, but I don't even know if I think they do it up to a 3/8.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm usually a half-ounce underspin guy. I'm usually like, if I'm going to throw an underspin at a fish, I want to be able to reel it with some speed and it not rise too quickly.
Right.
But I would say spot choker is the best all-around one. I would say, just for being able to get up higher weight and things like that.
Honest question, and I think spot chokers are great.
Mm-hmm.
The Black at Night he came out with, but with the Colorado blade.
So,
the blade being that small, do you really think it makes that much of a difference?
Yeah, I mean,
for those that haven't thrown it, I'm asking for somebody that sees the picture, has not thrown it. I've actually been asked that question.
So you're saying, since the Colorado blade is so small, you don't think it makes a big difference?
Does it
over
make
the
as
willow?
much? Yeah, and
I think it still does. I think the shape of the Colorado blade has a lot different water displacement than a willow blade does. Even because you got to think about it. I would say, even if it's a small Colorado blade, it's still probably almost twice as wide as that willow
probably
blade.
so. Yeah, you're correct.
So I mean, you're still making a bigger water displacement.
The question came up. Yeah, the question came up because the guy was talking in here. We were talking about spinner baits, and he wanted to know why everybody threw a Colorado at night. And I said, because of that.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I throwed willows at night, never had a problem. I said, well, I understand it. And then we got to talking about the spot choker.
Mm-hmm.
And he asked me that question. I'm like, I don't know. I didn't design it.
Yeah.
He goes, but it's so small, I can't see it making a difference. But it has to make some difference.
Yeah, it still makes.
It's got to make some difference. Yeah. Let's see. I get the one half guys asking for the high vis and the other half asking for the low vis.
Yeah, other guys want it to be black or dark green.
I get it. Hey, absolutely get it. Jason Glaze says the Queen underspin reminds me of the old school beetle spin.
I guess slightly. I really just look at it as if it's another underspin, but it's the only one that's tungsten. I mean,
okay, so does tungsten make that big of a difference?
Oh yeah, for everything. I think tungsten makes a huge difference.
Now, take forward facing sonar out of the way though. Even if you didn't have forward facing, because I've heard it has better returns.
So the tungsten, the new what do they call it? The juggle minnow. You know, the new thing where you reel a minnow and you just keep wobbling it. The new Queen tungsten head for that style, where basically the line tie is coming towards the point instead of pointing up at your rod, essentially. Right. That weight placement allows that thing to do a full wobble, fully on each side.
Gotcha.
When you do it with lead head, from what I've seen on the companies that have made those type heads out of lead, it still has a similar thing, but it's more of a it's tilting, slightly each way.
Right.
the tungsten being so dense, when you give that thing a kick and make it wobble, it's boom.
Got much more
Yeah.
profound movement on it.
Yep.
That's a good tip. I didn't know that. Is anybody even gotten like 4 out of the 5?
Apparently
So-
people don't read the magazine.
So people are getting about 3, maybe 4, and a lot of them are the same guys, but
I
they're
can
missing
give you a
2.
clue. Go back to 2020.
What?
Say it again.
Go back to 2020.
Like, I really want to give this hat away, guys, so you keep going. Clint Bartlett, the difference between Colorado and a willow is like comparing B cups to double D's. Yeah, but listen, double D's look different on a 4'10" girl than they do on a 6'8" girl.
We haven't had a woman of the night either.
Big Al,
Yeah.
they're busy over at the MPFL. They're probably
That's still
figuring,
no excuse.
they're figuring some stuff out. Well, do you have a woman
They're
of the
making
night?
new hires. They got Ken Duke this week.
I
Do
tell
they
you
really?
what,
Yeah, they just hired Ken Duke.
I did not know that. So there you go. Pick a Ken Pruitt. Pick a woman from the 80s for us and text it on the comment section. You're Big Al tonight. Because Kevin needs to speak about a woman.
No, I don't.
You brought it up.
Oh, I haven't seen it. I didn't know.
Oh, well, he's probably busy. You said 2023, Clint Bartlett said.
I did.
But the hint
article is from 2023, but it says since 2020. If you will look, well, I'm going to give you the clue again.
It's
in
the
a
top
magazine, FLW.
It's the top 5 winningest guys, wasn't it? Or most highest paid, ain't that what it says?
These 5 guys that finished in the top 20 and Angler of the Year points.
Lita Ford. If I close my eyes forever.
Of the 95 anglers who fish MLF, they were consistently in the top 5.
Michelle Pfeiffer,
points.
we've already had.
Top 20.
Got to get another one. Do you even know who Lita Ford is?
No,
Well, half of the rock people in 80 do. I mean,
I don't.
and I'm like, really know her. But Lita Ford's a good choice. She's a rocker. She sang with Ozzy Osbourne.
What about Jamie Lee Curtis
Hey, you know what? You can see her boobs in Trading Places.
or True Lies?
True Lies. She's okay, but she's a raging liberal.
Well, then scratch it.
That makes that look. Come up with something better. All right. So Ryan says tungsten provides a better response versus lead. It's amazing for crawling a prodigy in the ditches. You can detect when you are in rocks, brush, and even subtle deep bites. And I'll say that when even you pull a Texas rig with a tungsten, you can definitely tell that.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's talking about it shows up so much better on forward facing sonar because it's so dense. I've had several guys do that, but. It was like that movement. I didn't think about the movement and stuff like that, the displacement and all that when you were talking.
No,
about
their jig head. If ICAST was legitimately doing a best terminal tackle category or something along those lines,
could talk an hour on that.
I think Queen's jig head might have won because it in that game, which is what so much of what bass fishing has become, is this minnow jiggling style fishing.
It is.
That is one of the bigger game changers I've seen. They sent me a sample pack of when they were first developing them to test out, and it makes a big difference being able to rig it that way.
ICAST I loved ICAST.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. I hate the way they do their best of show.
Mm-hmm.
Best of show. There was a couple of them that I think deserved it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, let's take the slobber knocker.
Yeah.
That was 2 years ago. It was the best, one of the best in shows. So everybody ordered them things. Can't move them. Everybody's still going with the jackhammer. You can't move them.
Yeah.
But I think you go in there and it's like, oh, that looks pretty. Oh, that looks cool. You haven't fished it yet.
Yeah.
Or you got big companies that send out mass email marketing campaigns. Hey, ICAST, we're showing this, we're showing that.
Yeah.
I like the Queen Tackle stuff.
Yeah, the Queen Tackle stuff.
I like the Queen Tackle.
Plus,
stuff.
I mean, it's a family company. It's a guy who's on the elites. His dad. I mean, it's you're supporting something a little more than some conglomerate. That's
conglomerate's right. Morgan Fairchild. There you go. What? Oh. Kevin, Morgan Fairchild. Do you even know who Morgan Fairchild is? I figured he's too young to know. She was pretty. What do you think? Give me your opinion. Rank her 1 to 10, 10 being the highest.
Don't know who she
is. 8. What do you
too thin?
So the Russian judge docks 2 points for being too thin.
Too thin.
No meat with the potatoes.
No meat with potatoes.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Was Clint's guess in the middle up there? Did he get 3 out of 5 right?
Yes, he did.
Clint's close about every time. He's
There's been a
missing
couple
1
that
to
get
2
3 out of
guys.
5.
I think I might know who he's missing, but I don't.
Who you think he's missing?
Is he missing Matt Becker?
Nope.
No.
No, he ain't. No,
7.5. Brian Marcuson gives her a 7.5.
Good.
So there you go. So hey, listen, and Brian's old like you.
you know it's
So there
funny.
you go. Now, Brian, you know I love you. I'm just kidding.
We're just not.
The
we're
old
wiser,
man
that's
brings
all.
out the
Wiser. So-
magazine to get all these questions.
Well, and he knew people can't Google this because it's in a magazine.
It's
Exactly.
in a magazine. One time he had a question where you had to watch the daggum video. And I was like, yeah, but they got it right. Now, Michael Temple says the Hellraiser. I still to this day think that's the most gimmicky bait. You ever thrown one?
You know what's hilarious is the final day of the BFL All American at
Heath, you
Hartwell
were
last
close.
year.
hell.
Heath,
Final
you
day
were
of the BFL
close.
All American at Hartwell last year. My co-angler threw that thing for 4 hours.
Did he catch anything on it?
He got a couple bites. He said he'd caught good ones on it the first couple days, but I mean it. He had the all chrome one. I'm like, hey, you're on a blueback lake throwing a chrome bait. You can't argue with you. But
I understand
yeah,
that.
no.
All right, now we have a dissenting opinion from Matt's mom. Morgan Fairchild was hot, and I'm a chick. And then so Dave back there goes, she's right. I'm staying out of it because I have to go home to Miss Pruitt, who is hot.
Who are y'all talking about? Morgan
Well, I was
Fairchild?
calling the same hot woman too. You know.
Your wife's hot.
Yep.
Your wife is hot, huh? You're Googling Morgan Fairchild?
I don't know who it is. I'm 29. I don't know.
You know who I think the hottest woman of all time is besides my wife? Sophia Loren.
She was a lady. She really was.
And she was classy.
Yeah, she was.
And she was classy. And she's like 90 now.
The
still
woman
looks
had
good.
too much hair. And like Kevin said, she's too skinny.
Too skinny.
Too
Blake
skinny
says
and
she's
too much
skinny.
hair.
Anyway, all right. You have a
I think Raquel Welch.
Raquel Welch. That's another one.
Now she got the front end redone. That changed things a little bit. But... What's everybody laughing for?
Sophia Vergara she's my age and she still looks like she's 20 something.
Is she the one that was in Modern Family?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't even talk like her. I like when they get that she gets fast, acts like she's mad.
The fact that she was married to a guy who was in Married with Children is kind of an impressive little dynamic in the show.
In the show, yes.
In the show.
Yes, I know. It was
You
like
think about it, he was famous 40 years ago, 35 years ago.
And you know what's funny is we had that conversation 2 weeks ago when the daughter on Married with Children was brought up, and I thought Peg, the mom, was hot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She had that mom kind of,
yeah.
that vibe going on. For Kevin, Roseanne Barr, trying to meet the criteria. Now, you wanted some meat on your potatoes right there. You got the whole daggum buffet right there.
Ken, it's just started, buddy.
It's just started right there.
I'm warning you.
Remember the redheaded stranger with Willie Nelson? Yes, absolutely. All right, we got to get back to fishing. I got a serious angler on the show tonight, and he's over there like he don't know any of these women we're talking about. Oh, hell, she is in her 90s. Sophia Loren is still gorgeous. Matt, she looks better than Grandma. Hope she is not watching.
Okay.
Is your grandma good looking?
She's beautiful.
I mean, like,
No.
I know as a grandson, you're going to say that. Is your granny hot?
Is your granny hot?
So
That's going to be a TikTok.
I don't really know how to
How you
answer that.
things that he never thought he'd hear for 200,
Right.
Alex. Is your granny hot on that? So
Where'd Heath go? He was close. He had 4 of the 5.
they've been trying to answer this question for 30 minutes.
Clint's been close, but he's missing like 1 to 2
One
guys.
guy, Clint.
Clint, it's not Becker.
It's not Becker, Clint.
It's not Avena and it's not Eber.
Yeah, y'all quit saying Avena. I've seen him 50 times.
Danny the Granny Prowler. Yeah, well, I think X Videos has a
Not
whole
Jordan
section
Lee.
of grannies. I don't know. I've heard.
And
Not Zach Burge.
not Zach and not Lee.
Jordan Lee didn't even fish MLF last year, did he? Because he's with the elites.
Becker. It's not Becker, Spencer.
All right, so nobody put Becker anymore, and it's not Eber, right?
Nope.
We'll start canceling names out. We'll get them.
Okay, so we're trying to give away this hat. So
I'll take it.
Nobody wants it.
nobody wants the hat.
Danny won't give me a free hat. I still have to pay, so I'll take it.
You do. It's Edwin Evers.
Nope.
No.
Gotta have all 5. Anyway, you guys keep on. It's just sometimes of his question, like
So there's
you
only
actually,
been one guy with 4 answers.
but you thought that question would go quick tonight. You thought it would go.
What
quick.
month was this magazine released?
March 2023. I think it was
March.
April.
March 20. So who the hell's got that 2023
Just sitting
magazine
around
other than
still, yeah.
Kevin?
April. I told her.
This
I
is
told
my
her that.
toilet paper
It's
reading book.
This is reading stuff. He got him a new PC today too.
I did.
He got him a new PC. He had to have a guy come install it and everything.
Because I wanted to make sure the damn thing worked.
Got the tower and all that. Tower.
I don't
power.
have no tower.
Huh? You don't have no tower?
No.
Got
Okay.
Windows XP on it.
Yeah.
Who is M Day?
Windows
Who
11.
is M Day J?
Oh, yeah, he's got an abacus. Is what the hell he's got. Okay, so
If I
somebody.
wasn't here, you'd have nobody make fun of you. You know that.
I know, but that's because I love you.
I know.
You know that, so it's all in good fun.
Oh, I know it.
There
There it is, right there.
There
Who
it
got it?
is. Heath
Keith
Hudson.
Heath Hudson finally.
I knew Michael Neal. I had a
Brian
feeling.
Thrift, Jacob Wheeler, Michael Neal, Dustin Connell, and Alton Jones Jr.
It's all right there.
They are the Fab Five. We all have to laugh, not Windows Vista. That's right. So, thank you for such a great question tonight. And Heath, if I might have your contact information, but if I don't, message me directly on Facebook or shoot me a text at 678-283-6700. What would you use on Lake Kiowee in early September?
Top water and a fluke.
Top water and a fluke.
Yeah, I'd run around. I mean, there's thing about those Kiowee fish is they don't get pressured. So I mean, there's big schools sitting on
No
brush
different,
piles,
yeah.
on points, stuff like that.
Ready to eat.
Now it's hard to get the right size at Kiowee,
Yeah, they're
but
little
you,
fish.
but you can go catch the heck out of them.
Okay. Kevin, what does Heather Locklear rate? That was from Brian Marcuse, and he'd like to know.
10.
A 10.
10.
She's kind of a little.
Well, it depends what your is.
B cups.
No, she's fine.
She's
better
fine.
than
I
that.
lost my touch. So good job, Heath. Yeah, we appreciate you guys trying so hard to do that for an hour and a half. Glad we could finally
Yeah,
give it
Clint, you
away.
let me down.
Clint's letting him down. He's tired from doing all his
Yeah,
his video work.
Oh, everything.
Okay. So we're back. We got listen, guys, we got a little more time. This guy's got a long ride home.
Oh, I'm only riding 20 minutes down the road.
The hell with that. We're gonna talk some more. Here's a different question. Does bait pop work without having forward facing sonar?
I would think so. I mean, it smells. It's a scent.
It's a scent. We talked about
Yeah.
that today too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never been huge on scent, but I think it can make a difference. I mean, if you know you've got fish that are there and won't bite, there's no reason not to try it. Things
Do
like
you
that.
use it?
It's kind of- scent or bait pop.
Scent.
Yeah, to a certain extent. Yeah, I do. Not tons, but if I'm trying to think of specific circumstances, it depends. If I'm slowing down a lot, I will more so than when I'm trying to power fish, speed fish. I
Right.
mean, if I got a place I know I can catch them on a worm or catch them doing something specific, I'll try little things like that just to see if it makes a difference.
Yeah.
For sure.
Heath, it does fit a big head. Josh wears one of them. He's got a big old noggin too. Let's see. What type of reels and rods do you use?
I have mostly Lew's reels, mostly Kistler rods.
Kistler rods.
Yeah.
You like them?
I don't have any, not sponsored by any of them, but Kistler does good sales in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of one of those where you spend this much, you get, I think it's usually it's like you spend $500, you get 30% off. You spend $900, you get 40% off. You spend $1,500, you get 50% off.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, versus buying rods all throughout the year, I'll just buy a bunch of
Bulk
rods.
up and everything.
Yeah.
But as far as the okay, he won't spend his money then on bait pop. I mean, there's probably cheaper alternatives if you're into the sink.
I mean, if you're not using it for the purpose of helping to show your bait better, other scents will serve the same purpose.
Yeah, I agree with that at all. I was just looking up the comment section, make sure I didn't miss anybody. If you were going to Lanier tomorrow, well, you were on Lanier today. Let's talk about it. You said it was kind of a tough bite compared to normally. What was off about Lanier today? And you said you were trying some new things too and all that.
No, they're past. So that cold front, or not cold front, but that kind of rainy stretch we had there cooled the water off a good bit. I know it kind of flipped things back into that top water early June kind of deal for a while. And I think that all of a sudden it getting back into the 90s and sunny for the last week or two has just kind of flipped it back the other way. Like, you've seen a lot of fish that are sitting down 30, 35 feet. They'll chase. They don't really want to eat.
Thermocline setup.
I haven't seen it on my graph. I mean, I idled around a little bit, didn't really see it, but the way the fish are acting. One thing I've noticed, it seems like when the thermocline sets up a little bit, is the fish aren't as willing to be down in that like 15-foot range and see bait up and want to go for it. You have to make them. Like today,
a little sluggish kind of, or just non-committal.
Well, today the topwater bites I got, I pretty much would have to splash it right above where the fish were set up. So if I was just working a bait over them, they wouldn't go for it. But if I kind of made them hear it, essentially,
right?
Yeah, you could get them to come up a little bit, but it still wasn't as good. I mean, even back when I had the cast guys out, when I had Mick out with me right before I cast, I picked him up at the dock or at the ramp at the mouth of Young Deer. What's that one? Tidwell. Idled right out. I idled out, put the trolling motor down on my first cast. I caught one on an OG with him in the boat. I mean, he's never seen a spotted bass caught in his life, and on my first cast with an OG, I catch like a 3-pound spot.
Oh, there you go.
So he was like, well, maybe he knows what he's doing. I catch another one on the other side of the point. And then I took him up, and within an hour he caught his 480 to get things started.
That's awesome.
But I mean, that day we probably caught in 4 hours. We probably caught 25 on an OG.
That's awesome. On the 20 gram?
Yeah.
On a 21 smaller.
Yeah.
Let's see though. Michael Temple's one of what's your favorite luge reel?
Which one is that? I'm terrible at thinking of the model names because I just get them. I don't really pay attention too much.
Right.
It's the gray one. Pro.
Don't ask me.
Golly. I can't think of it right this moment. I will think of it and I will bring it back
if
up.
It comes back up. Your mama wants to know what's your favorite lure to fish just for fun. Your mom's asking some good questions tonight, by the way.
She's participating.
She is participating.
Yep.
Absolutely. We'll have her on next time with you. Hey, she seems like she'd be a trip.
I'd say my favorite fun bait most of the year is, probably a glide bait.
You just like that glide bait.
Yeah, I have fun with it.
Well, I can see that because you're going for that big.
Yeah.
You're going for that big.
Yeah.
Bucket list tournament.
Pro TI, that's what it is.
Pro TI.
Yep.
Okay. There you go. The bucket list tournament to win, excluding Bassmaster Classic, Red Crest, and Dream Lake to win it on.
I would like to win an All American instead of getting second in it two times in a row.
Do you know where it's going to be next year?
I do not. And I actually got fourth in an All American as a co-angler too. So my 3 All Americans I've gotten second.
You got to get over that
fourth.
hill.
Yeah.
You got to give it. But that's a good answer. Now, if you could pick the lake that the All American was on, other than Lanier.
I think so. It's always the last weekend of May, so it makes it an interesting dynamic because you're always practicing. Your Monday practice day is always Memorial Day. So it kind of matters in that regard because you pick a lake that gets tons of boat traffic, it kind of makes things a little funky for that tournament because it's like a Wednesday or a Thursday to Saturday tournament. I think end of May, if I could get, I don't know. Hartwell was kind of perfect. I really liked Hartwell. Yeah. Haven't gotten to put a ton of time on Hartwell. I've kind of done pretty well there. I won my first BFL there, but I think my next option after that would have to be like Sinclair or Oconee, just because it's somewhere that a lot of guys are going to show up and
not know it and all that.
Well, Sinclair and Oconee, you show up and you think to yourself, I'll throw a jig or a shaky head on docks a lot, and that can be a great thing to do. But it can also, like, the whole lake, both of them is docks.
Yeah.
So really breaking that down in 3 or 4 days, it's not the easiest thing to do, especially if you try and fish slow. You could fish 2 creeks all day and there's 15 of them to choose from.
That's a good answer, though.
Yeah.
That's a real good answer. Yeah, Josh is watching. I was just joking, buddy, about the big head. You are very smart. Smartest guy I know. What's the best way to fish a lake when the fish hang right above that thermocline?
You want to be throwing things that don't make them go into the thermocline. That's for sure.
Keep it above them.
Yeah, keep things above them.
What about the spy bait? And here's why I asked, because it came out, it was like hot, everybody, and then it's definitely died down. But I'm starting to hear guys pick it back up again.
That was one of Ryan Hanks's first. Like me and him would talk back before cast and all that, and him and Franco.
Great guy, by the way.
Yes,
Franco.
Great guy.
Absolutely. Have you ever met Franco?
No.
Absolutely fantastic human being.
They were smashing them at Lanier on the spy bait when it first came out.
Yeah.
They would go out in the fall, and for the first like 2 falls it was out, they could go catch 100 fish.
Oh, yeah, I don't doubt
because it was everywhere you'd pull up. You just throw it and reel it and catch them. I look at a spy bait these days as more of a fish loser than a fish catcher.
It's hard to hook up with them things sometimes.
It's not hard to hook up. It's hard to get them on. Keep them on.
Keep them on.
Yeah.
They come out with a bigger one though, haven't they? With bigger hooks.
Yeah, but I think the problem with the bigger size is you kind of lose a little bit of that thing that makes a spy bait great. That little light shimmy. They're on small bait, that kind of deal. Mm-hmm. You start reeling a bait that's this big over their heads, just slow and steady, and they're getting too good of a look at it. They're not going to. The biggest thing I've learned with forward-facing sonar is that fish that get too good of a look at baits, and fish change based on water temperature. Like water temperature, I think for me, forward-facing sonar has showed just how much water temperature affects what a fish wants to eat, wants to do. Mm-hmm. Like for me, once water temps hit about 60, I almost never throw a paddle tail anymore. I feel like fish, when it's colder, in my head, the way it works is a fish is a cold-blooded creature.
Right.
So its brain, it's dumber when the water's cold, basically is the way to look at it.
That's right.
That paddle tail, it's not the most realistic looking swimming action, but it does the right combination of having a swimming action and triggering lateral line. Mm-hmm. As soon as that water gets past a certain point, I honestly think those fish get too smart for that action. They realize, one, something's not just going to be coming right over my head, slowly kicking its tail and letting me eat it.
Right. Yeah.
And two, the tail itself, like the action of a paddle tail, is nothing like a fish. If you watch a minnow swimming, it doesn't look like it doesn't look like a paddle tail.
That is very true. Yeah. That's very true.
But then you see all these new minnow baits where you reel them and they just have that little slight, tiny bit of a shimmy. Mm-hmm. That's what a minnow looks like when it's swimming. So
you like that more subtle as the water warms up.
Yep. Yeah. I really think that water temp makes a big
cools
difference.
Down or warms up?
Warms up.
Warms up.
Well, so there's an in-between. So what also has happened with forward-facing sonar is we've learned that little light shimmy with the minnow-style baits is a great technique year-round. Right. It's not just when it's cold. It's not just when it's warm. I just kind of look at it as if, like, in the winter, I'm going to kind of go 50-50, more straight, slight shimmy, and paddle tail. Once the water temp hits 60, 65 for me, I'm almost never going to have a paddle tail on, unless largemouth lakes are a little different, grass lakes, current, stuff like that. Like Gunnersville, I was catching them on like a 5.5-inch hollow body. Mm-hmm. In that Gunnersville tournament, once the current was kicked up, I was throwing like a 1/2 ounce head, 8-10 feet of water. You're just reeling that thing, and they just come up and annihilate it. But that was the thing. When I caught that 27.6 bag at Gunnersville, I didn't scope a single one of those fish. Every one of them was a bite where I was just using the scope to help me make a good cast.
Gotcha.
It wasn't like, I'm seeing, oh, there's a fish over there, I'm going to get him. Now, when I had 23 pounds in the BFL the weekend before that, I think I scoped every single fish. Like I was, specific fish, I'm seeing them, that kind of stuff. But that was kind of like that was something I figured out from the current. But like I said, with current, I think that you can get away with paddle tail in warmer water because current changes everything. But like for Lanier, basically every lake we have in Georgia, except for maybe the Chattahoochee River chain, but even not really, there's still not a ton of current on the Chattahoochee River.
Right. I
really think that like there aren't any true current lakes in Georgia. They're all just kind of, they're Lanier when they start generating, it changes things a little bit.
Yeah.
You'll see the fish set up a little differently, but it's nothing.
It doesn't make a huge.
It's not Tennessee River current.
Gotcha.
It's not,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
You got a question?
No.
Oh, okay.
they're big and
What do
wide.
you think about the Gypsy OG?
Oh, I like it a lot.
That color?
Yeah. I caught last Saturday or last Friday. I caught, I don't know, 7, 8 on it.
Yeah.
Just decided to go throw it around for a
20
while.
grams still? Throwing
Mhm.
20 grams?
Yeah, they came out with 50 of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All
it
right.
was a very
of course
limited.
You got one.
Yep.
That's
Mine's
right.
not numbered. Everybody else got,
Of
numbered
course
ones.
he's got one. What about the riser bait? Do you throw it any?
I do. It kind of has gotten a little bit into that spy bait thing for me, where you can catch fish on it. The thing I've kind of noticed is you tend to catch the smaller ones out of a school on it, and it just not really my style. I mean, if I'm gonna pull up on a school of fish and I know there's some 3-pounders mixed in, it annoys the heck out of me when I catch a 1.5 pound fish out
Oh,
of
I
there.
bet so.
So
what you need to do is go fishing with me. I catch all the 1.5 pounds because
Exactly.
that's what's going to happen.
yeah, exactly.
What's the best month to fish Lanier with no live scope?
No live scope at Lanier, probably herring spawn. So
Yeah, because that's
May.
actually a visual too, or where it should be.
Well, yeah, you just know where it should be.
You know where it should be.
And I mean, a lot of the best places for the herring spawn bite, you're only fishing 3 to 5 feet of water. You're fishing these flat sandy points, flat clay points,
little
and
blow throughs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's actually a good answer on that too. John G. Wilson, I love how this podcast actually goes in depth and answers all the questions we ask. Most others don't do that. Thanks, guys. Hey, listen, I've said it a million times. This show is driven by you guys right there. And when I ask a question, I'm just like you guys. I'm trying to learn as well. So, I mean, like, I try to be a sponge to what these guys are saying, because eventually, if I ever do get to fish again, I'll probably be thinking, all right, I honestly, like Kevin, will you not honestly think like, okay, paddle tail, you don't throw those very much anyway, do you? You're not an underspin guy. Why the hell am I asking you this?
Because you like to.
I do like this. Well, I do like to put you on the spot.
I have them though. I mean,
you have them,
I do.
So if I need to throw one, you got some for me?
I got whatever you need.
But I'll be thinking,
yeah,
okay, paddle tail, water's a little bit warmer. It gets you to thinking, and that's the whole purpose of the podcast, is to learn. And again, it's all about you guys. Now, do you have the live scope or active target, and why? Or do you like one over the other, or what's your opinions on them?
I have live scope. I've only ever had Garmin's for it. I've seen the active target Lowrance.
The new one?
Yeah, I've seen I've seen the new one. In a way, I think active target might have a little less of a learning curve. But Garmin is better for the fine details.
I notice Humminbird never gets brought up anymore when it comes to this.
I don't know what's happened with Humminbird, but they have been left behind in this whole angle.
It seems that way.
Yeah.
Because nobody talks about Mega Live anymore.
Nope.
No.
I still think the 360 is great. I do, but I
have Humminbirds and Garmin's. Yeah. So I love
you love it for the mapping.
Mapping is great. Side imaging's great.
Yep. I knew that was coming.
But it's kind of become a weird, interesting factor in the fishing world, because it essentially seems like your best combination you can have right now is having all three. You want explain that. So Humminbird for mapping, just the maps are the best. Lowrance for waypoint management. And Lowrance and Humminbird can be kind of interchangeable for side imaging, but they're also both better at certain things. So you kind of, I look at it as if the best you can have is a Lowrance and a Humminbird at your dash, and then a Humminbird and a Garmin up at the trolling motor, because you want to have the mapping for both. So you get the Humminbird mapping. You can have Lowrance help manage your waypoints, so you know what you're going to, because Lowrance, when it comes to changing symbols on waypoints, how they display on the screen, the only way I can organize my symbols on a Humminbird is I either put them on one unit or the other. So they either show up as blue or yellow.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's essentially been my organization technique for years now. Is usually what I'll use is my trolling motor graph to mark the stuff that is like my most current, or my most the most recent. Right. Versus like my dash unit will be just all the random waypoints I have on a lake. But with Humminbird, for you to go in and customize each waypoint, one, when you look at it at the top down, it still all shows up as a dot. You have to zoom into each little area for them to show a symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And there's no touchscreen unless you have the Solixes. And I've been running Helixes. But yeah, with Lowrance, I mean, now you tap, 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 change a name, change a symbol. And it actually, when you zoom in and out, the symbol stands out for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one. When was the moment when you believed you could win any tournament you entered? What was the event that occurred to get you to believe in yourself? Was there a defining moment in the story that is Matt O'Connell?
A couple of years ago, when I won the Barry's Angler of the Year trophy, well, it was me and my partner Mark, but that was the first time I'd won something like that. I got second in Bulldog Division BFLs that year.
Right.
But it was the first time I'd won something where it was like, this is something that shows you earned it throughout a year.
Mm-hmm.
It's different than just having one good tournament. And at that point, I'd gotten, I don't know, 18, 17, I don't know, something like that, top 10s in Major League Fishing tournaments at that point, but I hadn't won one.
Mm-hmm.
So like for me to then win an Angler of the Year was one of those things where it's like, okay, I can show up, I can be looked at as a force to be reckoned with in every tournament now. And then it just kind of continued from there to where like, then I get second in a regional, get second in another regional, get second in an All American. And it just kind of, it all compiled at that point to where like first couple times you're getting like when I got second at the Murray regional, I was like, I was beat up. Yeah. I legitimately had lost the winning fish 10 to 15 times that day because I was topwater fishing and you know how that goes. But then it was like, even when I set the hook on a drop shot that day, have one hooked up for, first time I picked up a drop shot in a week at that lake. And I was like, I got this spot that's loaded with giants. They're wanting to stay down. Let me just try it. Throw it out there, hook one up, have it hooked up for 5 seconds. It just pops off. I mean, it was just like everything went wrong for me that day.
Right.
And then the All American after that, the All American was kind of a weird situation because like me and Emil are buddies.
Oh yeah.
So, and I mean, we knew it was between the two of us.
Yeah.
He is so nervous in those situations. That one, because he knew that was kind of his tournament to win.
Yeah.
He guided there. He, did all the stuff. I had put in time there, but it wasn't quite the same. I hadn't gotten to put nearly as much time in as him.
Yeah.
I just kind of knew the style of fishing. I broke it down. But like, so with him and I sitting there, we're just sitting there like, all right, well, we know it's one of us.
Right.
We're kind of like, not really, we're kind of just nervously sitting around each other because they put you right next to each other.
Oh yeah. Yeah, they do.
But from there, ever since then, I don't even get nervous in the weigh-in lines anymore. It's gotten weird to the point where it's like, even when I got second at Gunnersville this year, I mean, 2 ounces cost me $65,000. And I mean, and it's, you're just, ooh. And the thing, and the kid I lost to had already won $500,000. He's a 21-year-old kid who'd won $500,000 in the U.S. Open.
Who was that?
Hayden Marbit. So he was part of the Auburn team, him and Tucker.
Mm-hmm.
Who Tucker's in like 5th right now in the EQs to qualify for the elites. Mm. So I mean, and that's kind of what's been funny is like everybody I've gotten second to in the last 2 years, 3 years has either been, they've all been people I know, or there's somebody I have a relationship with.
Yeah.
Like even when I lost at Lake Norman Regional last year in the BFL, I lost Chris Wilder, who's from Macon, who I've known of for forever. Me and him were chatting in practice for that tournament.
Right.
It's just like everybody that I end up losing to it's something to almost desensitize me more to it.
Would you rather get beat by somebody you have no idea who they are or? Well,
that was kind of, so at Murray, I lost to Tyler Trent, who was a big hammer up in Virginia. He's Kerr Lake and Bugs Island, or are those the same thing? No, I don't think they are. But and he beat me at Murray. I was out there doing the blueback deal. I'm throwing top water, throwing a fluke, all that kind of stuff. He beats me drop shotting for 3 days. I mean, it killed me when I found out that he was just drop shotting, and he caught like a 5-pounder with like an hour left in the final day to beat me when I had lost so many.
All those on top.
I mean, I weighed like 15, 16 something that final day, and I had every bit of the 20 that I had on day 2 hooked up. Every bit of it, and it just wasn't happening.
I think I'd rather get beat by somebody I don't know, and I'd rather get my ass totally handed to me than lose by like point 2.
Yeah.
That would hurt a lot
Yeah.
more. Does the 0.2?
Yeah.
Do you run a 32 or 34?
34.
What are you shaking your head for?
I'd rather get beat by somebody I know and lose by an ounce or two than
It wouldn't hurt me near
because
as
it
bad
hurts
if
the
it,
money when you lose by more ounces.
I understand that. But I if it was coming down to like him knowing, like if you and I were fishing
If
and
I
it came
can't
down,
win it, I want you to win it.
yeah, I agree with that. So that's why I'd rather not know the guy, because that way when I cuss him, I don't feel as bad.
Well, I guarantee that nobody has ever lost 2 national level tournaments like I have to people they know that are locals that they also fish against. I mean, it's like like the Edwin Evers, Jason Christie Bassmaster Classic at Grand Lake several years ago, where everybody knew it was going to be one of those 2. Jason Christie on the final day is out there just fishing, and some guy fishing on the bank yells over to Christie, "Hey, Edwin's got 25 already."
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of those moments. And no, what's funny is so the final day of the All American
this year,
I had 2 fish for 8 pounds at Cherokee Lake when 12 pounds was a bag.
Mm-hmm.
So I have 2 fish for 8 pounds at like 8:30 in the morning, both glide bait fish.
Mm-hmm.
I
kept up with this day.
Yeah, well, and I had 4 bites on one dock.
Yeah.
Caught 2 of them for 8 pounds. So then all of a sudden, next thing you know, camera boats are coming to find me. Everybody's trying to figure out. They're like, wait, this guy who's an 8th is making a move. Well, of course, as soon as they get a camera guy to me, I'm like, all right, something seems to have shut off. I need to go smallmouth fishing. And I hadn't been catching anything smallmouth fishing until 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning. So I was like, all right, I'm going to go fill out a limit. Me catching 3 2-pounders already gives me the biggest bag of the tournament. So I'm making the move I need to make in a tournament like the All American.
Right.
And then, hey, I go catch 3 2-pounders. Then I'm fishing free the whole rest of the day.
That's right.
It made way too much sense in my head, strategy wise.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, all I did is make everybody on the planet just bang their heads against the wall and go, why is he not throwing the glide all day? Why is he not throwing the glide all day?
Yeah, I remember
but
that. Yep.
In my head, it just made too much sense. Like, all I got to do is pull up on 1 or 2 spots and get 3 keepers, and then I'm free to do the glide for 4 hours or however much it matters. But so I go try and do smallmouth fishing. It takes me 6 hours and I catch 1.
Oh, I remember. Yeah.
3 fish. I've got 3 fish for 10 pounds and I got a head in. I had one stretch right by the ramp that I knew there were fish around. And I was like, and it's literally right next to check-in. Run down there and there's a guy right on the stretch I want to be on. So I got to stop 150 yards short of him. And I'm like, all right, I'll just stop over here. Panning around, all of a sudden I pan up ahead of me on live scope and there's a brush pile that I hadn't seen before. And I could see fish around it. And I'm like, what the heck? All right, cool. Throw my little, throw the Echo up there.
Right.
Catch one, 2-pound large.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, shoot. All right, now I got 12 pounds. This is already great. It is 227. We're doing it 230. 226. We're doing it 230. Make another cast up of the brush pile. I'm like, I got to get up there one more time. As I'm letting it sink, I'm trying to see what's going on. All of a sudden, I'm like, wait, what's going on? A fish already had it.
Yeah.
I go from 3 fish for 10 pounds to a limit for the biggest bag of the All American in a 5-minute period right next to the weigh.
Yeah.
Get up there. I'm hooting and hollering because I'm like, what? I'm like, how did that just happen? Like all day.
Uh-huh.
So I'm yelling at Buddy Benson's like 3 boats ahead of me. He's like, you got him? I'm like, dude, I just went from 3 to 5. Like I'm screaming. Everybody that's idling their way in is looking around like, what is going on with this guy? I'm like, Paul thought I said I just caught a 4 and a 5.
Oh, did he really?
So Paul, as soon as we pull up on the bank, Paul's run up to me, dude, you got him? And I'm just like, I mean, I got a bag. I don't think I have enough to beat you. And sure enough, he had his 12 or 13 he needed.
Right.
I knew I had to go catch 18.
Right. Yeah.
16, 18. Yeah. 16 might give me a shot if he did bad. 18. But I had 14 pounds when the biggest bag of the tournament was like 13.5 or something before that. So, I mean, I couldn't be mad about it, but it was just crazy how that worked.
I watched you and Buddy and Paul that day. I mean, I was watching the results come in and I was like, you were there and it was like, you did not catch nothing for a while.
Oh,
you were on the struggle bus for a while.
It was weird. I mean, I broke one off at one point. I had one of those just once I left and tried to go do that deal, it just seemed like every decision I was making was kind of wrong. And I don't know if it really was wrong. And the thing was the day before that, I didn't have a limit until the last 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it was 2 days in a row where all of a sudden with like an hour left, 30 minutes left, the fish that were offshore would start biting a little bit.
Right.
But there was also like a window from 9 till 11 where I felt like I could get bit. So that's why I wanted to get out there and try it.
Yeah.
And the problem was I worked way up the lake when my glide bait fish were way down the lake.
Yeah. I remember I turned it off, so I did not catch the last section, but I hit back on the way in. And because Buddy came on just right after that. But I remember like you being back there, and so I didn't even think you were going to be in the top 4 or 5, and all of a sudden I start seeing it. I'm like, when the hell did that happen?
Yeah.
Because it was like, because I remember your weights and all that, and all of a sudden like you're in second, or you were, all that. You were leading it because you weighed in before Paul or after Paul?
I weighed in before Paul.
So you kind of in first for a second.
I was in first for a while.
Yeah,
I was in first all the way from 8th till like 3rd or something.
Yeah, but I was like, what happened? And then I got talking to people.
Yeah, no, I think the camera, hopefully there'll be video of it for the episode that comes out. But I mean, I was freaking out at the end.
Yeah, I think it was awesome.
That's cool.
Let's give you one more question because it's been up there for a while, and then we'll call it a night. John G, I think Matt's going to sleep good tonight. Yeah, he is. Speaking of the Bulldog division, do you recommend anyone wanting to go pro to try that route first?
Yeah, I would definitely say there's nothing wrong with fishing a BFL division. I mean, you will gain as much out of a BFL division as you will out of trying to fish a Toyota Series division without having to risk as much money. I mean, at least in my mind. Now, there's a certain level where, I mean, if you know you're going to be a pro fisherman or that's what you want to do, and you know that you need to take that step just to go ahead and try, if you have the ability or have the time, whatever, to go do all 9 Toyotas or something along those lines, that's definitely going to gain you a lot more than doing a division of BFLs. Because, I mean, division BFLs, a lot of what it comes down to is how much time you're going to put into them. They're only 6 days of fishing. It's 4 1-days and 1 2-day.
Right.
But like, if you can go put in 2 or 3 days of practice for all of them, then you're gaining a lot as well because you're getting to learn stuff through practice. Then you compete in the tournament.
That's right.
Toyotas, no matter what, you're by default, you're putting in 5 or 6 days basically.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a totally different way of looking at things in terms of how you want to handle it.
I got it. Harold Grizzle says good afternoon. So hey, you're a little late there, bud. But I tell you what, listen, Matt.
He mentioned you finished 4th in a non-boater in the All American.
Mm-hmm.
How many years did you go non-boat before you went boater?
I fished non-boater from 2012 to 2018. Then I fished 1 year as a boater. Then I went 1 year back to co-angler, and then I went full boater after that.
So we put in the time.
So like 7, 8 years. Yeah. No, it was kind of a different world when I got into it. I mean, now it's changed so much.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
Harold Grizzle says hello, Matt.
Hi, Harold.
Hi, Harold. But anyway, so seriously, I want to thank you. Finally got you on here. I know it took a while because you're a busy man. You are a busy man, but you answered the questions very, very good tonight. You know what people want to know. Good juice. And so you'll be back on the tournament trail next weekend. Didn't you say you had a BFL somewhere? So guys, y'all need to keep up with Matt because I'm telling you, he's going to be there. He's going to be there. But you work your ass off. So I had my laptop out at the Smith Lake Toyota Series meeting. I had a bunch of guys giving me crap. They're like, "What were you sitting over there on a laptop doing?" I was like, "I was working." Got to work.
The Toyota Series week, I did about 25 hours of work at the Airbnb.
Oh yeah.
After practicing each day,
you got to do it.
I was on a laptop 4 or 5 hours a night. It was miserable.
Oh, I bet it was. But he's a dang good fisherman. Absolutely, I think he's one of the best, most versatile all-around fishermen we have. Ryan Hank says super proud of you, and we are too. It's nice to know somebody and watch them succeed and give you somebody to root for. So we're always keeping up with you. But I want to thank you for coming up here tonight, spending some time with us, answering everybody's questions, and best of luck to everything you do, man.
I appreciate it.
You know, I don't even have to wish you luck. I know. And go get the All American this year.
That's the goal next year.
That's right. So we're going to be rooting for you.
Yeah, only doing one regional, try and get there, but we'll get there. We'll see.
Best of luck to that. And guys, again, hey, listen, you guys were awesome in the comments section tonight, and great questions. It makes my job a lot easier when you guys do that. And I hope you enjoyed the show. And again, we're going to be back next week. I don't have the Tuesday nighter planned, but I know next Thursday night, I know I have Ryan Jackson, and I forget the fella's name. All of a sudden I lost
You finally
it.
got Ryan on?
Ryan Jackson will be here next
Ooh.
Thursday. And the fella he's going to be with, I could pull it up on my phone, but they're going to come on. We're going to talk jackal baits, some of the new
Okay.
jackal baits coming out. And if you're watching, I'm sorry, I forgot your name, but I'm old. It happens like that. So, but again, thanks to all of you guys. Thanks to Blake for being in there. I know you work today.
Yeah, tomorrow's the first day off.
Okay, so Blake's working again, and of course I got father time as always. Gandorf, you are the glue that holds this show together. I'm looking forward to fishing with you.
I'm just glad to be a part of it.
Well, we're glad you are a part of it. And guys, listen, hey, you see these hats out here?
Come buy
them. Come by the shop, or go to fngo.com. I got all our hats on there. And but we appreciate you guys. The show is nothing without the guest and without the viewers. So we love you guys, and we will be back next Tuesday night with another show. I'll post on it Monday what we're going to do. But if you're on the water this weekend, be safe. Number one, enjoy the time out there, because listen, you never know how much time you got left. So go out there and have some fun. Enjoy what you get to do, and we'll see you on the next one. We appreciate you guys.